So it's moments like these, let me close the door. It's moments like these where I tell myself that it's probably better off that, I mean, where sometimes I'm like, do I need a lawyer? I don't even know what I would be fighting against or who I'd be, you know. I don't know. It just, the past 24 to 48 to 72 hours have been daunting. And as someone who does identify as being targeted, I hate saying that, because when you speak, when you confirm something, essentially, like when I say speak faith into your future, I'm really trying to focus, because it's the first time I had enough energy really to, oh no, where's my little necklace? To sit at the desk and record something, because for the past 72 hours, it started on Wednesday, I went to CVS Minute Clinic, like, not the one nearby where I live, but another one a few blocks down, and I didn't wear a mask or anything, and I'm wondering if that's where I got sick, because you never know, you know, it's a doctor's office, it's like a hospital, you know, people are sick, or this and that, or, you know, people don't wash their hands, or they touch doors, and then, you know, if they cough, and reminds me of COVID times. But like 72 hours ago, like Wednesday, I started to feel really bad, and this is where I get frustrated, because not to say that someone would go as far as planting like a deadly virus in my path to try to get me sick, but you know, it's sad, because you automatically assume the worst when you get betrayed and hurt by people, and that might not be the case, but unfortunately that's what my mind automatically, the first thing, that's what it goes to. And I'm sure there are people that are going through this understand. I feel like I'm getting it like pretty bad amongst all the targeted people. I honestly think I'm like at the top of the list. I know it's weird, because I do a background check and my name doesn't come on like a, you know, a watch list, you know. It's weird. I don't get it. It doesn't show up on some, you know, watch list for like criminals or anything like that, like Interpol and whatnot. So I know when I was doing research before, there's something called a non-investigative subject list, which is like, basically you're not suspected of a crime or anything, but you get like targeted for whatever reason, or tested, and I don't know the purpose of this. I really don't. I've tried so hard, and I try not to do that many investigative spiritual readings. You okay, Pepper? I'm worried about Bonnie getting sick too, because I feel my hand on her head, and I'm like, is she warm? You know, because dogs getting sick, that's anyone that has a dog or a pet, or is a dog mom or a pet parent, you would understand where I'm coming from. But also, you know, coming from a medical background, and I speak of the lady. Hi, Bibber. Hi, Bibber. Hello. Hey. Hello. I don't want to kiss her. I mean, I used to be very prone to like putting my face up to her mouth, but now I'm like, maybe I need to be careful of that, or be more mindful of that. So anyways, as I was saying, the past 72 hours, and then lawyer thing, I just don't know, because it's hard to even get evidence or proof of this stuff, and this is where my whole qualm with this targeting BS comes from, because, you know, I just started a job. I feel really blessed that I even got hired at a job, given my, you know, past, you know, history, not past history, I should say, just the employment gaps. Hi, Bibber. She's like, I really wanted to see you and talk to you. Oh wait, your hair's over here, Bibber. How did your hair end up in there? And it's frustrating because, like, this is what employers and stuff don't understand. You know, the life of a targeted person is not like the life of a regular person. We have to be hypervigilant. We don't have a choice. You have to listen to your gut, your intuition. Everything that other people get to do regularly in their life, we don't get to do. So, like, I have to think about my food at the grocery store. Like, if it's made on premises, targeting is a type of thing where they would legit probably hire someone from some group to go work at a grocery store that I frequent just so they can prepare the food and put stuff in it. I know that sounds crazy, but I strongly sense that. Even my reading said that. I have my character deck, and I try not to do that many investigative, like, oracle readings and stuff. I don't consider myself a detective. I'm not a detective. But it has come out that there's, like, people at the supermarket or grocery stores that don't have good intentions for me. And it says, like, criminal or vendor, supermarket betrayal, something like that. That came out like 2 weeks ago, I think. And I was like, who would sit there and, like, plant someone at a grocery store that I frequent? And that's where hacking comes in, right? I don't look at that as a test. I don't look at that as a joke. There's malicious intent behind that. That's not investigative. That's malicious. I'm a victim of what they call, like, energy weapons. I didn't even know that was a thing. I hate talking about this stuff. I really do. It's so depressing. Which, speaking of which, I was going to speak on this too. I had the luxury of being insulted by a guy on Instagram talking about dating now. He was sending me reels of, like, we matched on a dating app. And it's one of the dating apps that are more notorious for, like, hookups and stuff. And I try to tell myself, because I've heard stories, shifting gears a little bit, I've heard stories about people meeting on the more notorious app that's known for hookups or whatever. I've heard stories that people actually meet their partner, significant other. Now, I would be shocked if, like, that would ever happen to me, because I will be saying that I would say that, like, I think as a targeted person, you have to be extra careful. And that's why I started this series, Dating as a Targeted, Adventures in Dating as Targeted Individual or whatever, because I wanted to show people that you could still live a normal life even while being targeted, you know, or being bullied or cyberbullied. Because the whole point of the program is to make you depressed so that you don't live your life, so that you don't get a job, that you're homeless, or you're sick, and it's really demonic. Like, the whole thing is really, really, really demonic. And sad, too. It's really disappointing that it happens in America, because when I think of America, I think of, you know, farms, rolling pastures, New York City, Idaho potatoes, you know, San Francisco, that winding road, you know, I forgot what that road is called. You know, I think of patriotism, I think of opportunity, and it's just, this whole thing is so out of sorts with who we are and what we are, and the fact that I'm experiencing it, and the fact that, like, even family sometimes, and I don't care if they watch this or not, if we've had our differences and they believe what they believe, I believe what I believe, they're not really going through it, so they can't speak to it. A lot of people that are targeted get discredited, and they try to get framed as being mentally ill. They also get framed for things that they're not responsible for. Phone hacking, I think, plays a big part of it. And I know this because like I said before in another video, my IP address was all over the place a few years ago. Legit. Like, it was like, I was in Miami, and I was like, why does it say Oklahoma, the Bronx, Jacksonville, Florida, Boston, Connecticut, San Francisco, Sacramento, I don't think San Diego, Sacramento was on there. Somewhere in California was on there. Not Los Angeles, but California was on there. And I was like, but I'm not in any of these places. And how I would know that is because when I'd go to a website, it would say, your default location shows as this. And I wasn't using a VPN. So I know something shady and weird is going on. And I have my little Oracle deck here. Not Oracle deck, they're character cards. And, you know, it says, like, it says there's criminal activity going on. And I just... for the life of me, it's like I'm waiting. It's like, you know, the song from Snow White, Waiting on a Wish. It's kind of with Rachel Zegler. She did such a fantastic job in that movie. I thought she was wonderful. I think she's very talented. Anyways, not to go on a side tangent, but see, I'm not a hater. I don't go, oh, she's a whatever. I celebrate other people's talents and successes and wins. But it does feel like that. It's like waiting for some, like, it's like I feel like everyone else knows what's going on except me, and they want to treat it like a scavenger hunt. I'm not kidding when I say that. My readings keep coming up. There's different reasons why people get targeted. Some of them could be because a company maybe comes after you. Maybe you piss off an ex-lover of yours. Some people say that you could be in line for like an inheritance, or you're in someone's will, or whatever, all this stuff. And my thing is, if that's true, then all the people who are lottery winners get targeted. That doesn't make sense. Logically, it doesn't make sense. So, you know, if you're entitled to some sort of wealth or abundance or blessing, I would assume that comes through a letter, or, you know, some magistrate or an official person comes and provides that to you. I don't know if that's a joke. I don't know if that's a simulation. I sometimes, and the reason why I say simulation, because it seems so, that's like a fairy tale thing for someone, that you find out that, like, you know, someone was charitable, or someone, I don't know, you know, I don't know. I've never been motivated by money, like, ever. And this is my problem, because I should be more motivated. Like, shifting gears to another topic, and then going back to the dating thing. Like, recently I had to call off from the job that I just started. Like, legit just started this job, finished onboarding. It was a 3-day training. It seems like a really great company. It seems like right up my alley of, like, something that I know I'm contributing to a positive mission overall, because it aligns with my work experience, my work history, my passion for working, like, youth advocacy, people-oriented, you know, not really human services or social services like that, but it's educational in nature. I'm not going to say the name of the company, just because for privacy and anonymity, out of respect for them, I'm not going to do that. But I just feel really blessed, number one, that I got a job. But I've noticed this pattern that every single time I start a job, I either get sick, or someone triggers me, or I get a PTSD episode of something because, again, something triggers me, or I get in a fight with family or something. And I know you could say, well, you have to be stronger in your mind. You can't let that stuff affect you. Well, getting sick is not within my control. Yes, there are precautions and preventative measures. You can go to sleep on time. You can, get adequate amount of sleep, drink lots of water. But my water, unfortunately, is, like, tainted. So I'm pretty sure. And if you say, okay, you can purify that. Well, I've bought different, like, supplements and things or powders to filter it or neutralize it. And I got really sick. Now, granted, stuff on Amazon, I mean, you would think, I don't know, they put the label, some of it's not FDA regulated, so it's like you have to be careful anyways, because you don't know, people that are their own vendors that make their own things. I don't know what the process is to get approved for that stuff. That's like if I became a seller of something and I was like, and I sold food or whatever, or beverages or, something edible or digestible. I would assume there's certain parameters you have to go through with that. But yeah, I didn't feel well at all when I bought something from a vendor on Amazon, and but I felt good, 3 years ago when I bought that same thing from that same vendor. So it is very, very, very frustrating. So again, the life that regular people live, I can't live that life. Like, I have to think, oh, is this a safe grocery store to go to? Can I turn down this street? Because they'll, like, even, like, neighbors, I have to think about neighbors. They'll hire neighbors to do psychological warfare. Like, the latest thing for me, what they do is, and this has been something apparently I have autism. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. It's someone, the cyber bullies or the cyber hackers keep alluding to the fact they say that I have autism. Allegedly, I had terminal cancer. That's because the reason why I say this is because they keep showing ads about like cancer care and like, are you on I don't know how many times when I would apply to jobs that would only come up were like for hospice care, and I'm like, bro, is there something that I'm missing, or like, is it, you know? So, and then the latest and greatest, as I mentioned this before, is I would walk around with white flowers, or someone wears white, and I'm like, so white denotes like grief and mourning, and I'm just like, it plays on your head, right? Because that's the point. And you can say, oh, you're reading too much into it. No, I know my shit. And that's the thing, they know that I'm intuitive. They know that I'm not hyper focused on things, but they know that I'm very acutely and keenly aware, and I'm very sensitive to energy, to chemicals, to people, anything, you know? So it makes it difficult. So it's like, especially if you're empathic, things that other people dismiss and are like, oh, that's no big deal. For me, it's like magnified 10 times more. But the employment thing is frustrating because on Friday I had to call off from work, and anyone out there, if you do have a job, I've said this before, keep your job, even if it sucks. Mine doesn't suck right now. I'm waiting for like it to get really hard and for people to give me a hard time. Like, I'm waiting for it, you know, because unfortunately I anticipate that, because that's what's happened in other jobs. It's like I haven't been treated that fairly, and it's almost like a cast of characters. Not with this one, but with other jobs I've had, it would be like I do an orientation, and the people that would be in that Zoom room would do either say like they would have really nasty personalities or very demonstrative personalities that you can just tell they carried this narcissistic twinkle in their eye, and they will say and do anything to undermine someone or get ahead. And it's like, that's not a team player, that's an op. And it's like, if you're gonna work for any organization, not to say you're a cog in the machine, but especially when you're onboarding in a new role, to me, you're supposed to be championing somebody. What does that look like? You celebrate someone else's successes and wins. You learn from the people who are better than you. I always say this, I've said this before, one of my favorite poems, I've mentioned this before, it's called the Desiderata. It's like literally Desiderata. It's written by a man named Max Ehrman, and I found it years ago, and he says in it, I've said this before, go placidly amid the noise and haste. Go placidly amid the noise and haste, remember what peace there may be in silence, as far as possible without surrender. This is like my mantra, like this is my philosophy and what I live by. I actually gave this to my yoga students that I had before I left Miami a few years ago, because I wanted to instill in them, it makes me sad when I think about it, because I love teaching yoga and I love teaching kids. Like that kind of social emotional support and stuff like that, building social emotional stuff. But there's a part in it, as far as possible without surrender, be on good terms with all persons, speak your truth quietly and clearly, listen to others, even the dull and ignorant, they too have their story, avoid loud and aggressive persons, they are okay, so it says avoid loud and aggressive persons, they are vexations to the spirit. And this is something, I try not to be that. If you provoke me too much, I will I will bark back. And I'm learning how to balance that, because sometimes it's like, if you don't stand up for yourself, people will walk all over you. But there's a difference between malicious intent and like harassing someone. You know, there's a vast difference between like intentionally poisoning someone, intentionally drugging someone, which I do feel like I've experienced on numerous occasions. And if you say, okay, report it to the police, that's futile, because I honestly think that they'd look at me and be like, okay, then give me the proof. And I'd be like, well, I bought a test on Amazon and it says, and they'd be like, you're crazy. That's not enough. But I feel like they know. I feel like people know already. Oh, this is what it said. Okay. If you compare yourself to others, you may become vain or bitter, for there will always be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery, but let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself, especially do not feign affection, which means don't be fake. Neither be cynical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial, meaning short-lasting or ephemeral, as the grass. Take kindly the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune, but do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness, beyond a wholesome disposition. The wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. So I took that with me, and I ran with it, and I've kind of those are like my guiding principles. And I encourage anyone who else is being bullied or targeted, if you say, oh, but we have to fight back, we have to listen. If they wanted to, it's just like dating. If someone's interested in you, if they wanted to, they would. If a job likes you, they would reach out to you. If a job likes you, they give you a chance, they keep you. It's the same thing. It's no different. I'm trying to think anything else. That's something that does weigh heavy on my heart sometimes. It's frustrating, and I'll never forget what a therapist told me years ago. It was not years ago, it was like 2 years ago. She said, what was it called? Was it Better Health? No, Bright Minds? Bright Health? I can't remember what this company was called. She said, bullies usually pick on the people that they know won't fight back. And I do think that there's truth to that, but it's one thing to pick on someone and, bully someone, cyberbully someone. It's another thing to, maliciously put, a deadly virus or, a disease in someone's path, or try to provoke someone to get them sick, you know what I mean? Or sexually exploit them. And it's also interesting, too, is I'm learning that when you set your boundaries with people, because you teach people how to treat you, right, with your boundaries. If you say, hey, I'm going to tolerate this, if you're too permissive and you enable behavior, someone's going to go, okay, she allowed it that time, then I could do it this time. But the moment you put your foot down and go, hey, I'm not going to tolerate that anymore because I care about my sexual health, I care about, which again, going back to dating, I don't mind discussing this. Recently, I've decided, because I had a scare with my health, and this is where having no boundaries and being too nice and a people pleaser comes in. I'm not going to share too much, but for women out there, I'm just going to say practice safe sex. And what that means is, we are responsible. As a man, I would think men especially should know better, because they're the ones. I'm sorry if this is going to get too graphic, and I meant to do this more as a dating vlog this time, but it was kind of a mix of things. But that was my primary intention, to focus on the dating part, because that's kind of what I'm experiencing now, because I do want to live a normal life. And yes, I recognize honeypots, bumblebees, bee stings, wasp, hornets, what have you. But I'm still optimistic. I don't let that deter me. Even when I face near-death experiences, I still try to tell myself, Ashley, you deserve true companionship with men that won't abuse you or lie to you or trick you or hurt you. And I also realize I think there's inner healing for me to do, and because when you settle, you're going to attract what you think you're deserving of, right? So I understand that when you go through trauma, anyone who's gone through trauma, God forbid, let's say you've been raped, let's say you've experienced a miscarriage, let's say you had a really abusive, narcissistic partner in your life, you're already going to be somewhat at a disadvantage, not to be rude, but that's the truth, because your nervous system is depleted, and then that also affects your body, right? When your mind, when your head, and I literally, as I say this, I don't feel good. Hi, baby. I don't want you to get sick, baby. So when you don't feel good, or when you feel stressed or out of sorts, that manifests in the rest of you. So automatically you may gravitate towards people who feel safe but exciting at the same time, but you know that they can never reach that they don't have the emotional wherewithal or the capacity to love you or care for you. And what does that look like? That looks like consistency in communication. That looks like obviously physical attraction, sexual attraction, what have you, a meeting of the minds, a meeting of the souls. It's to me, a gentleman is, and this is where gentlemanly behaviors come in. And I'm learning this, and I go, Ashley, number one, it's okay to be alone. I think a lot of society, we are lonely. We are a lonely society. I've noticed this because I've noticed this play out in my life, where you will gravitate towards people that you may think they may not be great for you, but they'll do, and it's like, because it's hard, especially when you go through trauma and you go through targeting, to do it alone is really hard. And then to try to meet a partner who will explore that territory with you and traverse it with you is even that much harder, because it's not only like, now you have to trust that that person won't hurt you. One thing that I always ask partners or people that I start to interact or engage with, I ask them so many times profusely, are you gonna hurt me? And some of them get irked when I say this, because it's like, and I mean it though, and I say that on purpose, because not to say I psychoanalyze people, but I assess their reaction. It's either dismissive, and it's like, oh, like, if you say that again, I'm gonna walk out the door. Like, to me, I want someone to look me in the eye and be like, I will never do anything to hurt you. And not flinch, not blink, not, like, I want direct, like, I will never do it. And then that shows up in behavior, right? Because how do you build trust? How do you build reliability? By integrity, right? When your words align with your actions. So when someone says, I'm going to call you at this time, they call you. When you're sick, if you tell someone, hey, I'm not feeling well, not to say, what can I get for you? What can I do for you? Oh, I hope you feel better. Not, you're not sick, it's all in your head. That's gaslighting. And I've been a victim of that as well. But what does consistency look like? It looks like showing up for the person when you least expect it. It's going out of your way, not to make really valiant, demonstrative efforts, like, I'm not talking about a dozen roses and a gift card to Barnes & Noble, and not that sense of what, for me, that's what not roses, but hydrangeas maybe, and not white ones, but blue ones. Anyways, because that's what I like. So, because some people want, like, fancy cars. I want Barnes or Office Max. Office Max is nice too. Stationery or notebooks. Notebooks are really nice. I love notebooks. So anyways, or a trip to Disney World, but that's really expensive. Disney World is really expensive. Anyways, going back to what I was saying, and to me, the best relationships start off as friendships. And I know and it's funny, because looking back, when I match with someone, it honestly, because I ask people, what are your intentions? Because if their intentions aren't indicated on their profile, I say, like, what are your intentions? Because it's not, you didn't put it there. So, like, do you want a friend? Do you want, like, a casual thing? And in this day, casual connections typically mean sex. I'm just kidding. Not really sex. It just means that there's no definitive, like, concrete, like, you can talk to whoever you want. You're not strapped down to one person. It's not really polyamory, because it's like, you can date this, you can talk to this person one day, talk to the other person another day, and then meet another person, and you're kind of like, that's what I construe casual dating to be. If I'm wrong, then you can correct me, but that to me, let's look it up. I'm gonna look it up because I've looked this up a few years ago. Casual dating means going on romantic dates and spending time with someone without expecting a long-term commitment. Traditional labels are automatic monogamy. Key aspects include non-exclusivity, low pressure, and flexible boundaries. You enjoy each other's company in the present without planning a shared long-term future or marriage. Unless both people explicitly agree to be monogamous, partners are usually free to date or see other people. Unlike purely physical, so this is my point. Unlike purely physical hookups, casual dating typically involves actual dates like grabbing coffee, going to dinner, see a movie. I was trying to explain this to my mother recently because she's like, if you're just, hooking up with people, then you're a whore or whatever. I'm like, she didn't say that recently, but like, she did indicate that before, and I'm like, I'm not a whore. And women, as women, I will never, I always, music has been a big part of my life. And there's a song that really, it's a Beyonce song. Yes, I am a Beyonce fan for people that don't like her. I've listened to her since she was in, I had the CD, the little plastic CD case of Destiny's Child, with, what was it, Michelle, was it Solange? Who were the other people in Destiny's Child? Oh my god, I can't believe I can't remember this. But I remember when they did the song Survivor, Bills, whatever, say my name when no one. But I followed Beyonce from that point all the way up until like now. And there's a song, I always bring this up in videos. I'm sorry, my hand really hurts. My whole body hurts. I have a pain right here in my abdomen and my chest. That's probably anxiety because I feel like my esophagus is clenched. It's been rough. The past 72 hours have been really rough. I'm pretty sure I don't know if it's bacterial meningitis. It feels like viral meningitis because I have a really stiff neck. Yesterday was the worst. My fever was 101. Today it's kind of downgraded to like, on Wednesday I started feeling bad, and then Thursday it got progressively worse. Friday it was really bad. I wanted to work, but I couldn't because it literally and I said, oh, you're just, my job requires making outbound calls to people, and I was like, but I need to be my optimal self, and I know I wouldn't, even when I was on Thursday, I couldn't really, my thinking was off, because if you have meningitis, if you're not familiar with meningitis, it's an inflammation of the meninges. So the meninges are like a layer, and not internally in your brain, you have like your skull, you have the pia mater, the dura mater, and all this other stuff, and then you have the meninges. And so when that gets inflamed, that could be detrimental because you can get like encephalitis, which is like inflammation of the brain. You can get hydrocephalus. Hydrocephalus is like water on the brain, so you get intracranial pressure, and then that could cause seizures. And then if you have a fever, that could be febrile seizures. So I was already like going on the trajectory. I'm like, what would the treatment plan be? I'm like, if I went to the ER, they would do maybe a CT of my, they would do blood work, they would do a CMP, CBC, maybe a chest x-ray because I had chest pain, chest tightness, but that could also be anxiety. And then to rule out meningitis, you have to do a lumbar puncture, and that would cost a pretty penny, and I can't afford that because being on state, I don't mind saying state, thank God for Medicaid, but I also, my hand really hurts. It's just, an ER visit would cost a pretty penny, and I can't afford that right now. So I'm just like, if it's viral, I don't have a rash, which is good. I think what makes bacterial distinct from viral would be that I would get purpura, which is, I think, or like, not like petechiae, but I would get like blotches, like red blotches or purple blotches. I do have some, when I looked in the mirror, I was like, I had slight skin discoloration, but not significant enough to say. And then also, I think if you have a fever over 103, that would be more detrimental. What scared me though was not being able to move my neck side to side. I can move it a little bit more, it's just there's a lot of pain. So what I did is I did lymphatic massage on me. I did like self massage. I tried to do meditation and Reiki. I'm not trying to be woo woo, but I was like, I need to get creative. I don't mind. There are other more creative ways. There's different things you can do to heighten your immune system. I'm not going to say what else because well, I've talked about self-pleasure and stuff, but I'm not going to get into it too much. But I was trying to think of different ways to heighten or increase my immune system. And if you say, oh, you should take an NSAID, a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory thing, I really don't have like a fever reducer on hand, and I don't really have the money to be, I'm telling you, the targeting thing really, the sabotage, the financial sabotage, this is where I started the vlog off first, and I go, I don't know if I need a lawyer, because it's just, the financial sabotage was so horrible, because it really put me in a hard place, because I have experienced weird phenomena that only someone would say is reminiscent of like the Twilight Zone show, you know. I've walked into room, and that's where I thought trafficking. I've walked into a room with scary gases where I thought I was going to suffocate, and you could say, but then someone could play devil's advocate and go, oh no, that was anxiety. Oh, that was asthma. And I'm like, I don't think so. Especially if your eyes get blurry, or, you know, you get double vision, or all of a sudden your hands freeze up. Like, that's not, so I've had that, and other weird stuff happen with my food and my water, and I'm trying to push through it as best as I can. It's pure evil is what I consider it to be. Anyways, I don't like talking about it, but the whole ER thing, I've been going back and forth, and I go, it would cost a pretty penny. I know that. So I'm just like, I pray to God. I was like, please, God. I was like, I need your help. Or Christ, or whatever. I was like, please, God. I was like, I need your help. I need you to heal my body. I was like, I need angelic healing. My chest hurts a lot, though. Every bone in my body aches right now, though, I will be honest. Every single bone. My shoulder. I've had shoulder issues for a while now. I've been wondering if I needed like interventional radiology for that. It sucks when you've worked in healthcare before and you know the trajectory, you know, typical courses of action that you go down for different, you know, symptoms or ailments. And then I sit here and I'm like, but I need this, and this. And I'm like, but I can't get this, and this. I think people have tampered with vitamins before when I try to get vitamins. So, yeah. And I don't know if these people consider it science. I don't consider it science, because that's some hackers or people on my accounts keep trying to mention that it's like scientific, and I'm like, that's not science, that's abuse, you know. And I can't prove it, right? Like, I don't have a centrifuge at home. I've said this before, I don't have a centrifuge where I can delineate the plasma from the, you know, the blood and lymph fluid and lymphocyte. I can't do that, you know. I wish I could, but I'm not a scientist. I'm not a biomedical engineer or researcher, and people shouldn't be treating me like that anyways. They know better, because if they were in my shoes, they wouldn't want people to do all this stuff. And if you say, oh, then you need to get more sleep. I was doing fine, and not to say fine, but I was trying to cope and manage the best I could with where I'm at right now, where I'm living in Chicago. And if anyone wants a really good account of, she explains it really well. I'm not good at explaining it too much, because she really gets into the nitty-gritty of it. Lisa Legg is I don't know exactly how it all started for her, but she's going through that. There's another woman as well who's also going through it, I believe, and her name's Ashley as well, and she like lives in a bus, and she travels by, like, she renovated a bus. I'm like, this girl's brave. But the thing is that when you're targeted, you have to like live an unconventional lifestyle, because these people follow you wherever you go. It's like a little organized crime network. Then they all get together and they're like, let's pick on this person and just fuck with their head so much that I think the point is psychological degradation to the point where but I don't see the value in it. I really don't. I don't know what, like, is there a profit? Is it human trafficking? Is there some lucrative aspect to it? Is it like a dystopian, post-apocalyptic kind of, Hunger Games, Squid Games type of concept? I don't know. This is what I try to figure out. Anyways, I digress again. going back to casual dating, because that's what I wanted to focus on. I'm sorry if my eyes seem really, you can tell I have no makeup on. I feel very, my chest hurts a lot, my whole body, just the upper, and I will say I don't have a cough, I don't have a sore throat, which is good. If I had that, I would be really, really, I did lose weight, which is I have a decreased appetite, which is not good, which sucks. And I do think people are tampering with my food and my water. The same thing kind of happened when I was in Virginia, and I don't know why. I really don't know why. I keep wondering if someone like framed me for something, if someone lied about me. My readings keep on saying, like, I have the Kipper deck, which I can pull cards from. And then I'm going to go back to the dating thing, which I do want to make a point about stuff, because my new motto is emotional support is sexy. Because it is. You can take your pick of two different people, and you can have, now granted, I think there should be physical attraction. I remember my mom always taught me that you want to have physical attraction with someone, because then you're not going to want to like do anything, you know, like that to me I think is pivotal and crucial, because I mean, I've never, unless it's like an arranged marriage with someone, you know, like how in Indian culture they do arranged marriages, and the ones, or like, you know, in Jewish culture, if a guy marries a woman that's non-Jewish, she's called a shiksa. It's kind of like, if it's an arranged marriage, I don't know how that works out. I don't know if it's for the benefit of the family, for the bloodline, I don't really know, or property acquirement, like if, I don't know. I don't really know. All that I know is that because of mass media and books and things like that, and I used to play with Barbie dolls and stuff, I used to have this idea of what I thought romance was. And then as I grew up, I started to notice, and I don't know, I try to figure out, does it stem from a like poor parenting, you know, when boys are reared and raised, you know, I think if they don't have a solid role model to go off of, this is why I'm such a firm believer that, I mean, some people make it work. Some people raise, like, look at Gilmore Girls. I mean, it's just a TV show, but like Lorelai, the character, raised a really strong, I mean, she did have her issues here and there, but for the most part, Rory was a good kid, you know, and she was a single parent. So it's possible. I do think that single parents can make it work if they have a good co-parenting structure. God forbid if someone's widowed, that would be different. But for the most part, I think having a solid nuclear family unit produces the best success and outcomes. And that's why dating is so important, right? Because essentially, why do we date? We date to procreate, right? We date to continue the lineage and to have offspring. Essentially, like in its basic form, that's what we're doing. And who you partner up with is a big deal, because you're sharing your genes with someone else's genes. And then you're what's it called? Is it proliferating? Is that the proper word? Or not duplicating. What's the word? Reproducing. So, you know, and that all plays a part. So some people have a propensity for mental health issues. If some people, not to say that women should be like, you know, like, what's your genotype? There's a really funny thing by Tiffany Haddish where she's like, I can't remember what she said. She's like, do you have a job? She's like, are you married? Do you have a baby mama? How many kids you got? Because you can have kids, but you don't have no baby mama. It's like literally, she's like, what's your credit score? You know? And it's true at this point. It's like, I think solid, high value, well-rounded, you know, level-headed women. Look, more hair falls out. Yay, more hair falls out. That's so exciting. So exciting. I've had so much hair fall out. It's ridiculous. And I know that's attributed maybe to thyroid, but I also think heavy metal intoxication too. Because apparently I did a heavy metals test, and I have a shit ton of tin and aluminum in my body. Go figure. Exciting times. Hopefully not the end times, but exciting. I say that facetiously and sarcastically, because that's not exciting at all. And it really hurts my body, and it lowers my temperature, and it hurts my heart. And sometimes it feels like I have a magnet, like, pulling at my body, if that makes sense, and lighting my body up on fire. I know that could be a fibromyalgia, but That's what it feels like. Anyways, going back to what I was saying is like, that's the reason why we date, right? We're trying to find, and people, if you're already in a partnership, I'm sure, you know, if you have a spouse already, you can speak to that because you live with your person every day. I have never lived with, other than my brother and my dad and my mom, I've never lived with anybody else. I lived for like a week with a friend in Pennsylvania, who I considered at the time kind of like a sister, which was fun, because I did like her family. They were very nice people. But anyways, I was gonna say, it's called cohabitation, when you get like a roommate, and I've never had a roommate, and I'm still I was a month or 2 months ago when I first did a vlog, and I was like, I need help, I feel like I'm being murdered. I still feel this. I'm just trying to synthesize it and decompress, because I can't prevent someone from not hurting me. But this is where the police come in, right? This is where law enforcement is supposed to do what they need to do. The question is, will they do it? I don't know. Because prejudice runs deep. Discrimination runs deep. People are motivated people act upon discrimination. Look how many assassinations, look how many things happen in life because the primary motivation was discrimination or retribution or revenge. Oh, I don't like the way she talks. I don't like the fact one thing that someone keeps bringing up for me, I don't know why this keeps coming up. Someone keeps referring to me as like a Dalmatian or a zebra or something, or like I'm biracial, but last I checked I'm like 9% black, which were all, I think, derivatives of the, you know, the Fertile Crescent in Africa. So like you can get the whitest of the white person, and the different haplot groups and stuff it all comes down to the same potato, tomato, you know. So so you tell that to a super white supremacist racist, and they'll probably not like that, but you know, they're the kind of people that think white is right, like Hitler. If Hitler can convince a whole nation of Nazis to kill a bunch of people who are innocent, it's like history repeats itself. I did find out I'm part Jewish, like very minute. I think it's Eastern European Jewish, so I thought that was cool. So recently I was like, in the past few months, I was like, I want to learn more about Jewish faith, just because I don't want to feel like a hypocrite and be like, oh, let me join a synagogue, you know. But part of me is curious about that, because, you know, it's when you identify as part of a specific group, like a religious group, there's community within that, and as a targeted person, to find community is a blessing, whether it's at a job, whether it's at a church. If you're not religious, for the people that are atheists out there, I don't try to push religion on people. I think people resonate and identify with Christianity or Islam or Muslim or Buddhism or Mormonism or whatever, because we're all trying to find meaning in life, and that's also important to dating as well, right? But you find a strong sense of solidarity and community amongst people that are like-minded individuals, and people who all, not to say, I think there are people who I think do push Christ a little bit too much on people, because you have to be respectful. You have to, because some people are not going to believe in God. Some people are not going to believe in Christ. They're going to think, they're not going to believe, you know, they're just not. Whether you believe a dude walked around in sandals and talked and preached about love and goodness, and they freaking killed him, they crucified him, the poor guy, you know, like, and that was years ago. So imagine like now, people that do that, not to say evangelists and all that. I recently learned, I didn't know that priests get paid. I did not know this. I didn't know priests get paid. So hopefully, I mean, I thought priests were supposed to take a vow of poverty, just like nuns take a vow of poverty and a vow of chastity, but that's why they live in a rectory, right? It's funny enough, because I did have, her name was Miss Strong. She was my, like, vocal, when I was in preschool or kindergarten, we would do these, like, little shows and stuff, and she would put together these little musicals, like, outside on stage, and I remember I dressed up as, like, a present one day, and for Christmas time. Those were the good old days. I don't want to cry about it. I might a little bit, because life really, really threw me for a loop. I'm waiting for the universe to be like, you passed all the tests, you'll be safe, you'll be okay, and you're cared for and loved and nurtured. Like, I'm waiting for that to happen, because I just feel like I've met so many devils and wolves in sheep's clothing, and I'm like, okay, God, let me know when the test is over, because it'd be really nice to, you know, it'd be really nice to meet a good man and meet some nice people, like good friends who don't have bad intentions, who won't judge me and hurt me and bully me. That'd be really nice. I don't know, but sometimes you have to walk the path alone. That's part of your journey, right? Sometimes part of your mission is to do that, because I think certain souls are not equipped enough or awakened enough, and yeah, so you kind of, you walk the path alone. But because you can either I've said it before, acquiesce and succumb to society, and I could talk about fuckinging and, you know, talk about really perverse stuff, and, you know, I think there's a way to talk about sexuality and sex in a very classy, tasteful way, and there's a way to talk about it in a like a perverse, grotesque way. And pornography sometimes veers on that, so I'm trying to be mindful of that, and I don't mind sharing my journey with that, because again, if my journey helps another person, like some teenager, you know, in college that's 18, or an adult 19 years old, you know, I've always said that if I can help youth and young women, because I was a wallflower, I was very shy and introverted, and I still am, but I'm kind of an ambivert. But yeah, so anyways, going back to what I was saying about the dating thing, because I kind of I got off track when I started something, and then I end up going, the employment thing, I think I've already, I don't want to vent about it. It's just, it's frustrating, because, you know, you get a solid opportunity, and the targeting thing just really throws you for a loop, and I don't know how people can be so malicious to do that, you know. I don't know. I don't know. I've been trying to listen to a lot to motivational stuff like Maya Angelou, and I listened to Brene Brown before, and they do say cut people off who, you know, don't have good intentions for you and stuff like that, but I also, like, I don't know, I give people chances. So, especially if it's people close to you that you, like, grew up with, and, you know, and it makes making new friends hard too. And the dating part, going back to the dating thing, or just roommates and all that, like, anyone at my age, especially the position I am now, would say, oh, you should get a roommate, I've had people suggest that to me, because you split the cost and whatnot. But if I've suspected people coming into my apartment without my consent, and I'm not kidding, I say that because I have security cameras in my apartment, and one of them was, like, shifted and moved, and there's been stuff that's been moved around and rearranged, and I'm like, you know, it's scary. And I don't look at this as experimental. Anyone who mistreats humans this much and injures them, that's not experimental, that's abusive and psychopathic. That's not testing magic, that's not testing someone's mindfulness, that's like if I decided to put harmful substances or chemicals in someone's path to see how strong they can be. We all know that poisons work on people. We all know that technology or penetrative testing, and I don't mean sexual, I mean, like, there's something called penetrative testing where, like, I'm not kidding, I felt like my eardrum one day was going to burst, and I thought it did burst, because I have constant tinnitus in my left ear, and it goes away, it comes and goes, thank God, but, like, it's very, very frustrating. So going back to the dating thing, it's just, trying to meet someone, and I know to the people that have watched it, which I don't understand why majority of people, it's funny that the people that comment on the videos that I have, a lot of them are men, and I don't know why. I've had a few women comment, which I kind of wish, because I'm trying to gravitate towards helping women. I mean, but the thing is, the targeted community can also be men too, so I don't want to be sexist or discriminate against men, because we're all going through our own, situations. But it's meeting someone who will respect you and understand your plight and will go through that with you, because I do believe, because I would do that. Like, if I knew someone was being bullied and stuff, I mean, granted though, I'd have to really assess it, because if it's something like serious, let's say someone was really like guilty of a crime. Granted, I don't really condone people, like, if someone's guilty of a crime, right? Like, if who's a targeted person, because sometimes people get targeted. The other reason is because someone's a POI or a person of interest, so they get put on some list and then they get harassed and bullied. I don't know if it's this idea that torture is supposed to like mentally break someone down, because I'm the kind of person, like, I don't believe in the death penalty. I just don't. I don't think there's any good that, in fact, if someone murders a bunch of people, you can say, oh, Hitler deserved to die or whatever, and I mean, I think you have to look at the brevity of it. I don't know, but I'm not a firm believer of like death penalty and all that. I think that like you should be respectful to people, because it's human life, and you relegate them to being in prison or something. Like, that's just my take on it. But anyways, going back, I always detract from what I'm trying to say, but going back to the dating thing, as I do think, and this is why I was saying my new mantra is emotional support is sexy, because I recently had the pleasure of interacting with a guy who, and these are the kind of guys that if you reject them, they'll fuck with your phone. They'll, like, I guarantee you, they're the type of, for some reason, they're the kind of guys that if they don't get their way, they'll do something narcissistic or brash and like hurt you. And that's exactly the kind of guy I want to avoid, because if someone doesn't get their way, so they mistreat you and harm you, that's a huge red flag. So anyways, but I had the pleasure of being told, your vlogs are boring and you're a weird woman, and I was like, that's exactly the kind of guy that I don't want to date, because a gentleman would say, hey, you've been through a lot, and I'm so sorry for what you're going through, and genuinely mean that. That would be the gentlemanly thing to do. An empathetic individual wouldn't sit there like and bully someone, They wouldn't say, your vlogs are boring. But mind you, when you post something online, you are opening yourself up to scrutiny and criticism, so you have to be mindful of that, of public opinion. But if you're this was the context in which we were interacting with each other was a romantic one. I mean, I hadn't met him or anything, we just matched on an app, but he had sent me a reel about not having sex or something. It was a guy, it was not him, but we had been talking, and out of the blue, he texted me a reel that was like, being an adult, I thought meant being able to have sex whenever you want. He says, the only thing I'm having sex with is whatever, and this, and this. And I'm like, and I automatically took that as like, if I were a man, I'm not a man, but if I were a man and I was trying to court a lady, note to the people out there that are single men, I'm not a dating coach, but I did study psychology and not human relations, but how people interact with each other and whatnot. And I've observed a lot from different, parental figures, my siblings' relationships, friend relationships, coworkers, whatever. And what I've noticed is, number one, the best relationships come when they start out as friendships. And I don't mean like, oh, we've been best friends for years. I just mean that you have this solid, because when you're a friend with someone, you know that they're reliable, they're consistent, they follow through, you have good rapport, you communicate, and then you can build that friendship, and then layer by layer, bit by bit, you build upon that. And it's the guys, and it's not about gifts. I think and I don't mean giffies like the little memes, I mean like gifts, like buying a gift for someone. Gifts are nice. It shows that you care about someone, that you're thinking about them. But I'm sorry, my chest is like really hurting me right now. I feel like I'm being pierced in the heart right now. It hurts so much. Like my lower abdomen, it's just like, it hurts so much. Like as if someone took a piece of glass and was like, anyways, I'm just gonna push through it as best as I can. And what was I gonna say? So the gentlemanly thing to do would be, you're consistent in communication, you follow through, you don't, when someone's hurting, you don't insult. The last thing you want to do is insult someone who's already been through a lot. The last thing you want to do is be like, oh, tough it up, move on. Like, did it even happen? Oh, you're over exaggerating, you're too sensitive. Like really condescending stuff. Oh, it's all in your head. You need to go see a mental health doctor. Go to therapy. Like it's just, yeah. So like, that's not gentlemanly. That's not kind. It's not humanistic. Alexa, stop. So I was listening to sleep meditation music. So, you know, if you happen to be watching my blog, because I did block him because I was like, I'm not going to have that energy around me, you know, please don't resort to malicious intent. I've already experienced that with numerous individuals. I don't need that again. And that's not how you handle conflict, you know. You don't insult someone, especially when someone's gone through a lot already. And I may look fine on the outside, but you don't know the pain that I've experienced on the inside. And if you say, oh, get your blood work done, go to a doctor, I've done that. And if they say, oh, all your labs came back clear and your blood is clear, well, then clearly that's not right, because there's something going on. And some doctors are honest, some doctors are not. And that's where targeting comes in. You know, you have forthright doctors who are altruistic and honest, and then you have doctors that would probably get paid, or, you know, to lie or what have you. Anyways, as I was saying, I'm really hungry right now, but I don't know, we'll see. I know I need to eat something, but yeah, the way, if I was gonna court someone, I would definitely not be too pushy. I would show them that I care by definitely not lying to them, trying to interact with them on a daily basis. Not too much so where it's like overbearing or like, but yeah. And I need to take my temperature really quickly. I feel like I'm burning up right now. I need to take my temperature. Oh my goodness, my whole body hurts. And one thing I will say is that meningitis is definitely, I don't know if I'd rather have like constant diarrhea, because diarrhea, when you have a viral, like a stomach bug or something like that, you know, poop it out and whatever. This is like the meninges, that's neurological, and I really didn't want a lumbar puncture. So if you're like, well, you're crazy to not go to the ER, well, I'm like, I've survived everything else, so if I die, I die. I don't think I'll die, but I just don't want a seizure. Anyways, what else was I gonna say? I have to wait a few seconds. I've been doing this non-stop for like, I don't know, I don't know how long. 100.6. So, that's why it's beeping. If it's anything to 100, I still do have a fever. I really don't want to go to the ER. but because I really just don't. Because I just don't want to go to the ER, because then you just sit there and wait, and then you're around a bunch of sick people, and you don't know how forthright the doctors are, and I know they would do testing and all that shit, and if it's viral, they're going to be like, oh, just drink fluids, and then all the fluids I have drank before have not been safe, because I know that. So I am vlogging that right now with a fever, but, probably shouldn't put my hands in my mouth. And if you say take vitamin C, which I usually, my course of action, I usually take a shit ton of vitamin C, not like, airborne or emergency or something like that, because I know people do take that, and it's like a powder, and they put it in their drink. I haven't really been ever privy to that. I've been more privy to like regular vitamin C, and usually that knocks the virus out completely. I take like 5 vitamin C's in the morning, 5, but I'm too scared to, because I feel like people will lace that shit, because people be crazy. People be doing all sorts of crazy stuff out here. But anyways, going back to what I was saying, so I have been getting better at setting boundaries with people. And if you are someone who's a targeted person and you're like, oh, I'll date you, I don't I don't think YouTube is the platform to meet people, you know, I just don't think that that's the platform for that. I think YouTubers are storytellers. I think YouTube is a good platform to maybe gain community amongst a certain group of people, share creative thoughts, you know, make people smile, bring pleasure and joy to people, gain insight and wisdom about things. But I don't see it being, because you don't know. At the end of the day, you people don't know me. I don't lie. I always say in the words of Tim McGraw, I don't cheat, I don't steal, I don't lie. But you know, it's other people do that, and they are, you know, people, like I said in that poem, the world is full of trickery, and when you're good and you're kind, people take advantage of that, and they lie about their identity, they lie about everything, and that is something that I'm not into at all. I'm not into people lying. If you lie to me, I don't say you're dead to me, but like, once I find out somebody lies, it's the most unattractive thing ever. It's the most unattractive thing I could ever experience with someone. Because when you lie, that means that someone withholds information for their benefit. It's advantageous to them not to. It's for their benefit, not for you. Right? So, and that means that there's something that they don't want you to know. So if you're going to date someone or marry someone and they end up keeping secrets from you, you need to run like hell. You need to run like hell. Because any relationship, any partnership, any friendship based on lies and secrets, that's not a relationship. That's a one-sided, it's a lot of glass bottles they're throwing out. That's just that's like narcissists trying to get their own fill, you know, of something. Because you probably, you know, the narcissist empath thing, the reason why narcissists are attracted to empaths is because the empath has a supply, an emotional supply. It's almost like a drug, when you give and give and give and give, and you don't expect anything in return. Because an empathic person will do that. Someone with compassion, they'll give unto others, right, with no expectation of getting anything back. But if you pair that with a narcissist, and then as an empath, you may not or super empath in that, there's something called a Heyoka empath as well. You may not be able to decipher and discern someone's true intentions, because they may be really good at masking their true intentions. Some people are so good. And I've met some of these people, and it's frustrating because it's like, I know that they're not telling the truth. I'll call them out on it. And then when I call them out on it, they deflect and project the blame. And then they make me out like I'm the problem, or I'm too stingy, or I have too high standards, or I'm too traumatized. And it's like, no, my intuition speaks to me, and I know that you're not telling the truth. So, sorry, my hair keeps exciting times. Yay, heavy metals. I just know thallium causes. I've never had so much hair loss in my life than I've had recently. If I show how much hair I've lost. it's a lot. But anyways, to wrap this up, sometimes it's funny because I go into the dating pool, I dip my toes in the water, and then I get a taste of it, and it's either I'll meet the guy who is like ready for like marriage and, you know, the whole kit and caboodle, and I'm like, but I don't really want, I mean, I do want that down the line, but I also just want like, it's more so companionship, I think, if anything. If someone can prove to me that they're consistent with their actions and behavior, I think that's way more attractive. That's what I'm looking for. Someone who I can rely on, you know, and who's consistent. And I'm not talking, you know, I have people in my life that I know maybe if I'd call them, they'd answer, but we don't talk on a daily basis. And that's ultimately, you know, how do you build a connection with someone? You talk to someone. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to comb my hair. I was like, I can't comb my hair like a regular person. I have naturally wavy or curly hair. I don't know what type curly hair. Ugh. Yeah. So I'm waiting for the person that will be consistent and reliable and a gentleman, and in this day and age, and I don't know if that's because of me, if I'm too tolerant or I enable people, or people have this idea of me, because we all have first impressions, we all have ideas of someone, right? I would like to think that I don't have too many salacious or provocative pictures on my account to indicate that I'm solely interested in a hookup with somebody. I try to be mindful of that, because some men, you know, that's all they want is a hookup, and they'll even play the part of like, oh, I'm interested in you in more than that, but really all they just want is the sex because they already have the emotional investment somewhere else. And that's not fair to me. And if you're a woman going through that, and if you're okay with that, please know that you're better than that. Like, please, like we need to teach people how to treat us with respect. And if we're tolerating mediocrity, if we're tolerating men using us just for whatever, and then holding on to the hope that they'll change, they're grown-ass men. They're grown-ass men. They were raised a certain way. And this is for heterosexual people, but they were raised a certain way, you know, and you are not someone's mother. Now, there's a difference between emotional support, and that's where the point I was getting at. There's a difference between supporting someone emotionally, and not therapeutically, not in like a therapist, like I want to be your therapist, but more like in a friendly manner. Like if someone is down and out, like I know if I had a friend and if they were going through something hard, I would check in on them every day if I could. I'd probably send a care package if I could afford it, and I'd put their favorite little socks. And like, I remember when I was in Vermont, there was a lady, I didn't really know her that well. She was on the Neighbors app, and she was pregnant, and she had a complicated pregnancy. I think she had preeclampsia. I remember very distinctly her mom posted on the Nextdoor app, and I said to myself, I was like, if you stop by, I'm giving out Halloween, you know, goodies, like a goodie bag. And, you know, and she's like, that's very generous of you and stuff like that. I don't think they ever did, so I never, because she had another kid too, and I was like, oh, I can give something to you, and some of the stuff in there is like stress reduction items, like a stress ball that you can squeeze, cute pens and stuff. So I told her, come during, you know, Halloween, and I'll give you a little goodie bag. But what I wanted to do was, but I didn't have enough money for it, because I spent a lot of money on doing the little gift goodie bags. And I wanted to put together a care package with like fuzzy socks, because I know when people are pregnant, they get lymphedema, they get like swollen ankles and fluid retention and stuff, and they have pain and their boobs hurt and stuff. So I was like, maybe if I get her like I don't know, I wanted to get like a cute little baby book. And I didn't know her, she was a neighbor, but that's the neighborly thing to do, right? That's, to me, that's what being friendly and kind and compassionate, that's what it's all about to me. That's humanity, and that's, I think, how we should treat people. And it's not about gifts. I mean, everyone's love language is different, right? There's the what was it, the 5 love languages. right? The 5 love languages are, and this was by a pastor, Gary Chapman. I remember I read this book a while ago. I don't know if I got through the whole book, but so it's words of affirmation, physical touch, receiving gifts, quality time, and acts of service. I think knowing, I'm gonna take my blood pressure. I just went like this with my, I feel like my BPM is pretty high right now. I would say maybe look into your, that's a good place to start, is look into your love language, see what, because then that's how you can better relate to someone. And sometimes your love language doesn't jive with someone else's love language. Like, let's say someone's really into physical touch, but you only develop an attraction to someone when there's an intellectual capacity. Like for me, I know that I can't fully let go with someone, I don't want to say sexually, but like I can't fully let go until I or trust somebody until I've developed some sort of emotional, like or I don't know if it's intellectual or emotional connection with them. Some people, they can just hook up with each other and then carry on like there's nobody's business, and I think men are better at that, but women, we are emotional creatures by habit. So but I think a good place to start is love language, words of affirmation. So the actions to take would be sending an unexpected note, text, or card. Physical touch, the actions to take, hugging, cuddling, kisses, stuff like that. How to communicate nonverbal use of body language and touch to show love. Receiving gifts, how to communicate that through thoughtfulness, make your spouse a priority. Actions to take are give thoughtful gifts and gestures, express gratitude when receiving gifts. I'm really bad at receiving gifts, just because I always feel like if someone gives me a gift, I need to return the favor. Things to avoid: unenthusiastic gift giving, forgetting special occasions. Quality time. I think this is where for me I stumble, because I think people assume that when I say casual, or I'm not necessarily looking for anything serious, but I'm not dead set on being like I want a long-term like life. I do, but I've learned that if you go to the extreme of that, like I met one guy when we did a FaceTime, and he was like, what did he tell me? He said the whole conversation was about our scheduling, and how he said, if I can't meet you within the first 2 weeks of whatever, then this won't work. And I'm looking for long term, and I want marriage, and like he was literally like arranging the partnership as we were talking. I'm like, I don't know you. I was like, I just want to get to know you. Like, do you like dolphins more than whales? If you could eat Chinese takeout or pizza, which one would you eat? And I know that sounds silly, but that's important stuff to me, because if I'm going to eat takeout with you, I want to make sure that you like Chinese food, because that's important to me, because I grew up eating Chinese takeout. I also grew up eating pizza. And those things matter to me. I'm a big foodie. So, are you like, do you hunt animals in your spare time? Or like, if you go fishing, do you catch the fish and then do you release it back? Or do you skin it and debone it and decapitate it with no feeling at all towards the fish? Like, I legit I was scrolling through YouTube, and there was this lady, I kid you not, and I don't like crocodiles at all. I don't like any reptiles for that matter. And she was legit cutting up pieces of alligator or crocodile in the video, weighing them on a scale. She was some Asian lady, and she's like, and I'm like, this is a video? I'm like, who watches this stuff? That's another thing. What does the person like to watch? I do like sports. I'm not like an avid sports fan. If I had ESPN Plus, then I probably would watch a lot more sports, but that costs money, and I can't afford that right now. But, if I don't watch golf with someone, or not golf, what's a thing? I don't know, what sport do I not watch? I don't watch that much golf, but I would enjoy golf if it was on. Volleyball, I don't watch. Tennis, basketball, I don't really watch that much football. I will watch football if it's like the Super Bowl, or like the latter half where they're determining what teams go to the Super, like that kind of thing. If I could watch more basketball, I would. I don't know why I like basketball more. I don't know if it's easier to understand and watch the people on the court. I may not know like the exact logistics of it, but like I find it entertaining. But anyways, like if I don't like someone's certain sport, are they gonna shun me for that? If I don't eat sushi, is the guy gonna be pissed off because I don't really eat sushi? if I'm not into threesomes, I've had men ask me, threesome? And I'm like, no. He's like, are you sure you don't want two guys and whatever? And I'm like, no. You know, if I do card readings, are they going to be accepting of that? You know, I don't know. I don't have that much of an, I want to say affiliation with my heritage. You know, are they going to be pissed off about that? You know, I've had past negative experiences in my life that are still, I haven't received closure from. Are they going to chastise me for that? Are they going to be a source of support? Or are they going to, and that's the biggest thing, right? Because God forbid, let's say your spouse or your boyfriend or you have, let's say if you're a guy, you have a girlfriend and they get diagnosed with cancer. Are you going to be like, deuces, I'm out? Or you have someone, let's say, that stalked you or hacked you or bullied you. Are they going to sit there and go, no, that didn't happen, I'm going to gaslight you to make you think that didn't? Or are they going to say, hey, I get that. I go, well, we'll figure it out together, but I'm here for you. I have yet to hear that from someone. You know what I realize? I haven't heard that from anyone. I have yet to hear that from anybody. I've had to constantly tell myself, Ashley, you've got this. You know, I haven't had that from anybody. I haven't had anyone really apologize or say they're sorry. I'm sorry if I cry. But I haven't heard anyone say, I'm sorry for hurting you. And it's hard because, like, I'm the first person, like, if I hurt somebody, I would say I'm sorry. That's the weirdest part. But I have yet to meet a man who's like, I maybe can't relate what you're going through, or, you know, I haven't experienced it myself, but I'm willing to walk that journey with you. And, you know, it may be hard and tough sometimes, but, you know, safety is a priority, and I'm going to make sure that you're safe. Because I think, you know, if we go back to, like, the caveman times, right, the Neolithic, Paleolithic, right, caveman times, hunter-gatherer, the whole idea of a man, evolution dictates that the man is supposed to be, not to say the breadwinner, but the caretaker, or the, you know, the protector. And women, I feel like, have had to step up recently, like in the past, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, where women have had to become more independent. You know, also breaking the glass ceiling. You know, women now, we have more opportunities. Whereas, because, you know, like when you think of women's rights, the suffragettes who fought for women's rights for voting and stuff like that, right? Like, there are women who literally think it was only before that men could vote. Isn't that crazy? And then you had these really badass women, Susan B. Anthony, right? Who was like, no, bitch. I actually played Susan B. Anthony in middle school. I had the little bonnet and everything. I think she was raised in, Susan B. Anthony. Birthplace. I don't know if it's, oh, it's Massachusetts. Oh, I thought she was born in, like, Elizabethtown, New York. Adams, Massachusetts. I was wrong. Oh, she did, and she lived in the home until she was 6, and she moved to New York. I was right. She is from, yes, I know my shit. I remember my history. I thought this lady was so cool because she was, she made a lasting impact on American history because she fought for women's rights to vote. I didn't know she was born in Massachusetts, so as of late, I've been wanting to, I wish I could check out Boston. I feel like Boston would be such a vibrant city with, I don't know, different things, but it's very expensive. Very, very expensive. Maybe one day. I don't know. We'll see. So, but yeah, going back to, what was it, the love languages. I always go off on a tangent, I forget. But what was this thing about quality time? That women these days, like, we've had to demonstrate more independence because I don't know if it's because of poor role models in their family systems, you know, because you wonder, why are men, where are the, there's that song, I need a hero, I don't know who sings that song. It's in the Shrek movie where the lady with the little wand comes out and she's like, "Where have all the good men gone?" And she's in like the red dress or whatever. But she was a little evil though. Because you know why? She was an evil lady. I remember because she was manipulative. Because she, in the Shrek movie, she had the Prince Charming guy lined up for the Fiona character, if I remember correctly. And he was like the guy with the fancy hair. I think that was her like nephew or son or something. And she was trying to pair because she wanted to take over the kingdom or whatever. And then Shrek the ogre was like, you know. Anyways, moving on. But it's true though, the gentlemanly men, I don't know. I keep telling myself, if I was a mom, how would I raise my child? Because I worked with kids for so long as an early childhood teacher for like a year or so, and then I was a child life specialist, and I try to impart, or I try to think, if I had a son or if I had a daughter, how would I raise them? I would raise them. There's that different parenting style. There's authoritarian, like permissive, and authoritative. Authoritarian is like a dictator, and then authoritative is like you set rules and boundaries, but they're not so astringent or rigid that they're like the child doesn't feel encapsulated or like overprotected. Like they feel that they can explore the world and make decisions on their own independently without feeling like they're going to be criticized or scrutinized. So that's kind of, I think, how I would raise them. But I know there would be a lot of love and a lot of nurturing. And I would try to role model the way in which to treat others. Because that's how kids learn, right? But by observation. They see how you interact, and it all starts within the family. So I think some of these men, they must have not had good role models. Or they didn't care. That's the only thing I could think of. And it's like, so trying to, but it's also a conscious decision too, because as a kid, you can maybe not have a parent, a solid home, but you can have a teacher, you can have a coach or a mentor. Like, let's say there's a guy, let's say he plays hockey, I don't know. Let's say there's a hockey player, like, let's say a hockey player, I'm thinking of like the off-campus show, but like, that's what's coming to mind. But let's say like, you have like, the guy doesn't have it's a dysfunctional family dynamic. You have both parents, because that's another thing too. You can have both parents in a household, but those parents may not resolve conflict well. They may grow out of love with each other. They may be at each other's throats. They may pick on each other. They may lie to each other. They may cheat on each other. God forbid a man hits another woman. I hope not. Or the woman gets abusive verbally towards her husband or spouse. And then that's what a kid witnesses, or if a dad is like a player, so they witness their dad having different women come and go, so that's what they learn. That's acceptable behavior. So then they carry that on later in life. So it's not always to say that the people who are single parents, like, they won't raise their kids right, but I think if sons had better role models, or parents modeled appropriate positive behavior, like interpersonal skills, I think later on their attachment style would be more secure and less avoidant. Because I try to remind myself, I don't think of myself as avoidant. I'm just allergic to narcissism. I'm allergic to infidelity. I'm allergic to dishonesty, really. It sucks sometimes when you're a woman and you feel like your spidey senses go up and you're like, man, I know that they're lying. But you can't prove it. And I feel like I've been tested over and over and over and over with this. And I'm like, when is it going to be that one person who is like... But then I'm like, maybe it's me. I have to vibrate. I take accountability. I'm like, maybe I have to improve myself. Maybe it's hard to garner and establish a solid routine during targeting. I will be honest. I will say that when you invest in self-development and building your character, and you have your focus, they usually say when you're not focused on something, like when you don't put so much emphasis on something, you actually attract. It's like when you hyper-focus on something, you repel that. It's called resistance in law of attraction. But then when you don't focus on it, you are in a state of flow and ease towards it, you attract it to you. It's a very interesting phenomenon, because you would think in manifestation you're supposed to say, like, I don't know, like, I mentioned this, and this is gonna make me sound so freaking infantile and like little schoolgirl-ish. I promise you, I'm not a teenager. I'm legit. I'm 34. I used to like have a journal and be like, I'm gonna meet a wonderful like I used to have this playlist, like this love playlist or whatever, and I was like, because everyone else around me was partnered up, and I was like, what am I doing wrong? But I used to equate my worth and value and tie it to attractiveness, like whether someone found me attractive or not. And I think that's wrong, because I think when you love yourself enough and you enjoy your own company, someone sees that and they honor that and respect that. And a man won't be threatened by that either. You know, the woman who's ambitious, who has her life together and stuff like that, or wants to not necessarily succeed or make vast amounts of wealth, but just, you know, earn income, gain solid ground, and build up their bank account, be able to, because that's another thing I say is, as a woman, by the way, I've said this before, I don't know who said it, I think it was Reese Witherspoon I watched recently, she said that, where or maybe it was Beyonce, where they said you always want to be able to, I can't remember the proper wording or phrasing, but it was this idea that you never want to have to rely on a man, because if there ever comes a time where you have to get out of Dodge, you know, and you are tied to a man, right, and you can't get out of that partnership because you're financially tied to them, that's horrible. Because let's say you're miserable and unhappy, and that goes for guys too, it's the same thing, and you know, it's not just for, I'm going to tell you that it's not just for women, it's for men too, because there are people who I think do stay in relationships with partners that they're not in love with anymore because they have kids together, or they, you know, they share businesses or finances, so it makes it very difficult. Look at this, my hair just keeps coming out over and over again. It makes it very difficult for them, you know, because they'd rather stay together with someone that they know maybe they don't love anymore, but because they have kids, or because there's a financial stakeholder investment in that, then, because then you have to split the finances, you have to split the assets. If someone has a business together, that's a whole nother thing. And then the school, and, you know, taking the kids here, and then spending time at the grandparents' house, and that's a whole, that's why you try to get it right the first time. But some people, that doesn't happen. Some people are lucky that their second time around that they do meet the right person. And sometimes that first person is the precursor or the lesson to the blessing, you know, that'll come after. But I will say, though, for a man or woman, you always want to be able to, I think, and it's unfortunate everything I've gone through, because I had all of that. I had that solid ground. I had savings. I had retirement funds. I had, and I'm sorry to the guy that's like, your vlog is depressing. Well, this is my life, bitch. Like, I don't know what to tell you. This is life. We all go through shit, and I did not deserve it. And there is a criminalistic aspect to it that happened. So if you are deterred by it, then you can look away. There's 50 million other channels that other people can watch. You don't have to watch me. I'm trying to impart wisdom and knowledge of lessons that I've learned and acquired over time to better assist other people from a peer perspective. Because I don't consider myself an authority. I don't consider myself a savant or a guru of any kind. I just consider myself a victim of a crime, number one, and I don't like to play the victim card, but and I don't really know how to go about that, and I'm not going to go on a scavenger hunt to try to find that legal help and support and whatever, but you know, I am hopeful that, I don't know, a miracle will happen. That's all I can hope for. And that's why I do tell myself, the dating part, I am kind of like, sometimes I'm like, I feel momentum, and I'm like, and when I say dating, I mean this, like, I don't know if you can constitute dating apps dating. I said this before, but that's my idea of that, because, like, how else am I going to meet someone in a grocery store? Like, what do you do? Oh, you buy the same cat food, or you buy the same dog food? Whoa. Like, how do you even, I don't know, maybe people do that. Oh, you like those paper towels, oh me, like, I don't know, what do people, I don't know, like, when you talk about serendipity, you know, like, there's the movie Serendipity, with Kate Beckinsale and John Cusack. It's, like, one of my favorite movies, and, Kate Beckinsale's character, she says serendipity is like a coincidence, something, a happy accident or something, serendipity. Finding something good without looking for it. The occurrence and development of events by chance in a happy or beneficial way. Or serendipitous. The effect by which one accidentally stumbles across something truly wonderful, especially while looking for something truly unrelated. Pleasant happening by chance. Finding something beautiful without looking for it. That's essentially what serendipity is. And I just don't know. I'm like, do people do that? Like, you go to CVS and you're like, hey, you bought the same Band-Aids as me. Whoa. Like, I don't know. I just think in this modern day and age of, I know there's like events where you can meet people meet in real life and social events and whatnot, but like for me, unfortunately, I will say that the dating thing gives me an opportunity to screen people before I meet them. You know, because how someone presents themselves online is a whole persona, right? The way that they present themselves. So, and that's their first impression. These are the pictures I chose. Like, I have a lot of, I didn't realize a lot of my pictures are with animals, because I do love animals. I didn't realize that. But that is a part, someone, I remember used to write, are you a veterinarian? And I'm like, no, but I wanted to be a veterinarian as a kid. I just could never, the hard parts of being a vet, I could never do. Like when you put animals to sleep and stuff, I could never, I know that's part of it. Like, if a dog is like, at their old age and, they have cancer or something all over their body and whatnot, then I understand that, or some disease. I know that because we've had to do that with our pets and stuff, but maybe a vet tech would be more appropriate. A vet tech would be fun, I think, to do, but I can't afford to go back to school right now. And I've had weird things happen in person at different places that I've worked at, so unfortunately. So anyways, yeah, I know I kind of went all over the place with that, but I would like to say maybe to still, I haven't seen it play out in my life, and also that can be by location. And it's funny because you would think Chicago is flooded with, like, teeming with people. I don't know how many, Ziggy, what's the population of Chicago, Illinois? Like, how many people live in Chicago, Illinois?
The United States population was roughly 342,691,076 on July 24, 2026.
No, I said Chicago, Illinois.
Chicago, Illinois has about 2.73 million people right now.
How many of those are single men? I'm not kidding. I go by statistics.
I don't have the exact count of single men in Chicago right now.
You should, because you're supposed to know everything. But you would think in such a large metropolitan urban area that there would be a lot of opportunity for that. But there are, but the quality is like, so, and I'm not stingy. I try not to be picky. I don't go by like, oh, he has to have a super duper like important job and be like the CEO or Wall Street, whatever, broker. I don't really care, or like a super fancy doctor. I don't care if I don't go by that, even though my parents have been like, no, he has to be someone who makes at least $100K. And I'm like, I don't even make that. How am I supposed to meet someone that made, like, that cancels out like everybody. And then a lot of those people are like gonna be super money motivated, and that's not what I want. I don't want that, because then that's all they focus on. Like, there was a girl, I'll never forget it, in middle school. Her dad, it was in my brother's class. He was upperclassman. He was a contractor. They lived in Pinecrest. I'm not gonna say the name. I went to a Catholic school, but like, they were rich, like rich. Like, when you go to private school, it's like Chilton. Think of that. Like, I went to, like, not really like Chilton, but like, I went to a Catholic school, so like everyone's like really, really rich. So I'm talking Escalades, Range Rovers, Audis, BMWs, what have you. Like, put it this way, at 16, these people got like BMWs for their birthday. And me, I'm like, I don't even give a shit. I was like, Dad, can you take me to whatever? Because I really don't, you know. I did like the Volkswagen Beetle, though. I will be honest. The Volkswagen Beetle's a really cute car. And the Honda Passport at the time I was really into. And the Suburban. The big trucks, I don't know why I was really into. But her dad, this one girl, there were two girls in the family. They both went to that school. The husband asked the wife, I remember my mom told me this story. She's like, the husband asked the wife, you know, you can either, my job, like I can either take this job. He was presented with the opportunity that he could make a lot of money, but he would have to travel all the time and he wouldn't be home. But they'd get the big house, they'd get the beautiful lawn, they'd get the nice cars, but he wouldn't be home. And they would be able to pay for tuition, whatever. And the mom, the wife, said, I want the house. I want the car. I want the lawn. And I went to a party at their house once, actually, and it was beautiful. The woman was like an amazing interior decorator. And it kind of reminds me of the song, there's a Broadway musical called Songs for New World. And in the last part of the song, she talks about all the different opportunities with romantic partners that she had. One guy offered this to her, one guy offered like carefree, on the road, you know, living a life of, you know, intrigue and spontaneity. And then this other person, what was it? The last part goes, I met a man who had a fortune in the bank, retired at age 30, set for life. I met a man who didn't know which stars to thank, but he asked one day if I would be his wife. And I looked up, and all that I could think of was a life that I dreamt I would live. And I said to him, what would you give? And he said, I'll give you stars and the moon and something parties in Nice, France with my friends, and parties on my yacht, and you'll meet this and that. And then she, at the end of the song, she realized she had all of that, but the song is called Stars and the Moon, and she realized that she never had the moon. So it's an allegory, or it's a metaphor just speaking to the fact that you can have everything but have nothing at the same time. And it's like, would you rather not have like a lot but be with the love of your life, or would you rather have everything in the world and, you know, have like a blasé, what looks on the outside of society tolerable partnership, you know? And you have, because a lot of people, that's what they do, they go for the financial stability. And you would think my situation, that's something I would gravitate towards, but I don't know. I don't know if that's because I watched so many Disney movies and stuff and was brainwashed to believe that, like, I don't know. It's kind of like, you know, the Notebook movie where the guy, you know, what happened? Oh, the mom didn't want the daughter Allie. It was Allie and Noah, and she didn't want the daughter Allie to be with Noah because he was just like a foreman in a construction company or a lumber company in manual labor. And so she thought that this other guy, Lon, would be a better option for her. So essentially the mom was meddling in her daughter, you know, not really meddling, but she was, because she came from wealth and upper class living, she thought that would be more conducive for her daughter versus someone who, even though in the character of Noah, that character, this is why I've always wanted to go to North Carolina, because I wanted to see what, you know, all the different locations were like, because of, you know, the way that they, like Dear John, the last song, which is that's actually a sad movie, and then Dear John, last song, The Notebook, Nights in Rodanthe, other ones I can't think of right now. So yeah, it's like I've been trying to go back and forth, and I go, am I too picky? Are my standards too high? And I go, I don't think so. A gentleman is not that, like, if I demonstrate kindness and compassion and sincerity, I try to. I'm not, as of late, I haven't been the best at texting, just because a lot's been on my mind, and I've been trying to survive this horrible situation of being cyberbullied. And if you think cyberbullying is not a big deal, trust me, it's horrible. And being targeted is horrible. Like, it's terrible. I wonder if, like, I don't know. I really don't know. The past 72 hours have been absolutely just, I don't know. So, anyways, my chest hurts a lot right now. And I know probably moving would be the best course of action for me, but I can't afford to. So unfortunately, it's like, I want to say I'm stuck here, but it's unfair, you know. I will say though that dating or dating apps would be a good way for someone to try and hurt someone. I will say that for sure. Unfortunately, you know, like, because if someone was already targeting you before, then what a perfect way for, I want to say, a hitman or an assassin to come in and present themselves as like some, I hate using that word, hitman, assassin, but that's life, and this happens to people. This is a real thing. And it's not something that should be taken lightly. Women do get trafficked, humans do get trafficked, children do get trafficked, and you don't have to be thrown into the back of a van. It could be at work, it could be at in your own home. There could be digital trafficking. People could try to keep you on a tight leash and subject you to atrocities and abuse repeatedly. And I don't want to talk about it, but you know, I try to hold on to some semblance of normalcy in my life, and this is while still, you know, having a fever and having aches and pains all over, yeah. So I just looked at the back of the thermometer. It says BT, and BT, every time I think BT, I think Botox. So I do think someone, that's another thing unfortunately I've been through. I do suspect that someone tried to intoxicate me with Botox, and that's not a good Botox is really, really, really bad for someone to get to ingest or digest, because it's a bacteria, which I didn't know botulinum toxin is a bacteria. The stuff that people put in their face to like make their skin like this, you know, and get rid of like with the lips and whatnot, the lip fillers, you know, that all that shit. And you're not supposed to ingest that. It could be fatal. So I pray to God that doesn't happen. Unfortunately, I think I've been a survivor of that. I don't know how to stop it because people are crazy, and I feel like I need like a a SWAT. I need to date like a SWAT tactical something. Even though those guys, I don't know, because some guys you wonder how honest they would be, you know, because, you know, some of those more brawny, burly men, you know, may be players and stuff, and that's not really what I'm into. So, at least maybe it's attractive for some women, but it's not attractive for me. So, yeah, but that's a little update on my dating journey as a targeted individual. I've been slowly putting together the pieces of stuff that's going on in my life, and I don't think it's fake or animated or simulated or a joke. You don't torture someone to death, you know, like that's not something you do to someone, you know, and then cover it up. So anyways, what else? If I can impart any other pieces of wisdom, never give up on yourself. Targeting is hard, and remember, people are unhappy, and so if they can bring you down to their level, then they've succeeded. Meaning, like, because no one goes around bullying another person unless they themselves are unhappy. You know what I mean? So it's like, I've said this before, I sound like a broken record, but hurt people. And criminals, I will say this, criminals, I think, they don't care at all. Criminals, those individuals are just, that's a whole other ballgame. And human torture is not something that anyone should have to go through. And I do think that I'm a victim of that. And they do it very slyly and stealthily. And I just try to breathe through it as best as I can. Yoga helps a lot. I did a video on like the things I do to help me cope. Music helps a lot. Breathing. I don't want to say sexy time, but it's a little embarrassing. But I will say there is efficacy there. So if you think I'm joking, self-pleasure actually, it engages the immune system. It activates. I asked Alexa today, I'm like, does an orgasm help, whatever? So I'm not saying to do that with necessarily with someone else, but, you know, maybe consider it. If you don't have medicine on hand, get creative. You know, it's not sinful. I don't think the human body, as long as you're not engaging in that like 24/7 and it's distracting you from other activities, I don't see anything wrong with that. That's you with your body trying to discover, you know, what feels good for you. And if an employer sees this, I'm not going to shy away from that. That's life. I'm trying to help people here. You know, these were things that I was nervous to talk about growing up. So I don't mind sharing it with the interwebs. Anything else? Practice. Oh, be safe when you're going out and about. I do feel like, I don't know why, I feel like another pandemic is imminent. I don't want to say pandemic or epidemic or something along those lines. Some virus or something could be in the cards somehow, maybe in the future. I don't know why, I feel like that's possible. Let me take my temperature here. So that's why, you know, just be mindful where you travel to. I know on the cruise ships they had that hantavirus thing going on, and that was scary because you don't know what someone's immune system is like, you know. So anyways, I'm taking my temperature again, speaking of viruses and whatnot. Anything else I wish to say? I think that's it. And don't feel bad for having high standards. Because I still have a fever. Right? Or no? I can't see. 101.1, that's not bad. I mean, it's bad, but it's not whatever. 101.17. I document everything in my little thingamabobber here. I'm like my own nurse. Anyways, wait, 101.17. Because then if I have something to reference back. But the thing is, also proof is important too. If you don't have proof, then you can say, oh, this and this happened to me. But if you don't actually have proof, then it's just hearsay. Anything else? Yeah, having standards and boundaries is not a bad thing. They teach people how to treat you. If someone gets upset at your boundaries, then that means that 97, 100, 1.0, no, 96, 96, 101. I need to get rest. 96, 102. No, 103. Oh, my body is fighting a virus. Exciting times. What was I gonna say? Yeah, it's not bad to have boundaries and standards and to tell someone no. I've struggled with this so much because I thought saying no to someone was mean, and it's not. Because if you sense that someone's being dishonest with you and tricking you and you call them out on it, why would you want to be with someone, or anyone for that matter, a job, a friend, family? That's not the way you treat people. There's civility, there's humanity, there's honesty and integrity, and I don't know where, for some reason it's like people push back, and the more you reflect back to people who they are, the more that they demonstrate resistance or try to project or deflect the blame or gaslight you, and that's just not fair. Especially if you're someone who's emotionally vulnerable and sensitive anyways, like me. You're gonna take it and go, oh, maybe they're right. Maybe and then they gaslight you, and that's not fair. That's psychological coercion and manipulation, and that's almost sometimes worse than being, because physical abuse is outward, and you can prove that. Psychological torture, psychological warfare, spiritual warfare, that's harder. Verbal abuse, it's a matter of he said, she said, so yeah. Anyways, see, I pull cards and I'm like, what? See, look, great fortune. This is always what comes out. And I don't know why people, I pull cards and I'm like, just to wrap things up, I go, because I have cards here with me, gift, great fortune. So that wouldn't come out unless, so I don't know what your story is with targeting. Some people got, that's what, and this is courthouse. So I don't know. And I don't know why, and this is courtship. I don't know why people would hide this from me. And I'm not going to go on a scavenger hunt for that, because that's some, if it's legalities, that's something someone could tell me. So, anyways, moving on from that, what else I want to say? Yeah, I think that's it. Do the right thing, treat people kindly and fairly. When people talk poorly about you, your character speaks for itself. I will say be careful, because be careful what you click in emails, be careful what you click in text messages. I get a lot of spam calls about loans. I don't know why. I've never applied for a loan except for FAFSA, so they keep saying, your loan, you're approved, and I'm like, I didn't do the loan, so I don't know, just be mindful, because people could do devious stuff with your name and social security. Luckily, I haven't had any credit alerts like on Experian or anything. So, but yeah. Anyways, I know tomorrow is Spiritual Sunday. I've been kind of contemplating whether I want to do investigative reads or not. I did a video before that said I told people stay in your lane, because you can get targeted by really bad people in bad groups, because they don't want their shit exposed, like gangs and whatnot, the criminals. And I'm sure they'd go after like psychic people, because we're or intuitive or mediums or whatever you want to call it. I know I don't look like a medium or whatnot. I look like a very casual, laissez-faire person. I don't have a turban or like hoop earrings or a crystal ball. It's just intuition. So, but just be mindful of what you post and what you say, because some people, they'll catch on to that and they will target you like full-fledged. Like I'm talking like, they will fuck with your AC, they will fuck with your oven, they will fuck with your fridge, they will fuck with your shower water, they will mess with, I'm gonna say fuck with, excuse my language, they will mess with, they'll try to get you sick with viruses, airborne or otherwise. They'll try to send people in your way that have diseases, or God forbid HIV or an STD or STI, or people will try to get you pregnant. So endings. Courthouse, mature woman, courtship. So yeah, that's that. But if you are someone, I have seen, which is very kind of some people, where they say prayers and stuff like that. I know a lot of you that do watch the videos that I post and stuff, you tell me read the Bible, and I trust me, my take on that, by the way, is some people believe, the Bible is the word of God, and, those are stories, and, you can learn lessons from them and stuff like that. But I think I'm more of a spiritual person, if that makes sense. I'm kind of, not to say an unconventional Christian person, or non-denominational for that matter, but I don't like to push religion on people. I think religion can sometimes be used as a form to control people. Which is not a good thing. Look what happened to Christ. He didn't conform to the Catholicism, the Roman Catholic thing, and they killed him, and then allegedly he rose from the dead. But and I would like to think that happened. It'd be cool to believe that the guy rose from the dead, and I mean, scientifically, if you get nailed to a cross, I don't really know if you bleed out with a crown of, I mean, that's like pretty intense. I don't really know. But, you know, I don't know. Maybe Christ was an alien. I don't know. I don't know, you know. They say that there's the star systems or star seeds, the Palladians, the Andromedans. That's like if you don't know what I'm talking about, star seeds, or your soul came from allegedly from another soul system or star system, if you will. There's hold on, I know I'm going all over the place with this blog or whatever. But star seeds types. There's Pleiadians. I don't know what the Greys, isn't it the Lyrians? Syrians, Andromedas, Arcturians, Lemurians. Types of souls, star seeds, indigo children, crystal children, rainbow children. It's alleged that, you know, people's souls come from different star systems, so if that's why sometimes you don't feel like you fit in to the world, maybe that's because you have an affinity for that otherworldly stuff, and that's why you have heightened intuition and whatnot. And people that are bad people that don't like that would stop people who have these gifts and abilities. So yeah. And I read somewhere that someone thought Christ was a Palladian, so go figure. I don't know. I mean, if you say a guy comes down to earth and he's like, I'm the son of God and I can do miracles, you're like, oh shit, that's kind of crazy. You know? Starseed types. Are you one? So these starseed people are usually people that are into the card readings, and people make fun of these people, but, you know, they are really intuitive. They have one of the 6 or 7 claircognizance, clairaudience, clairsentience, clairvoyance. I'm forgetting one of them. But anyway, oh my god, I must be sleepy. So yeah, light workers, light keepers, manifestors. I don't know, there's 12 types of light workers, grid workers, astral travelers, messengers. My eyes are so tired right now. I have such sensitivity to light. I want to be like, fuck meningitis. Because I'm pretty sure it's either the flu or meningitis, but given that I don't have a cough or a sore throat, it's not upper respiratory, it's more, which again, bacterial meningitis could be life-threatening because you can get a seizure and that could really mess shit up, but if it's viral, then it just plays out its course. So galactic psychiatry, this is a thing. They need to do a branch of psychiatry for starseed people, for intuitive empaths, because we're a whole different breed of people. Like, honestly, I do think we're a whole different breed of, because what's the conventional norms is not like our ailments and stuff, like sensitive to energy, sensitive to loud noises, toxins, chemicals, pesticides, narcissism. Like, we can pick people out from the bunch, and you know, it's hard. And medication is not necessarily, it's like, you know, people go, oh, we'll prescribe you this, and it's like, no, I need a prescription where I need energy healing. I need someone to do a sound bath meditation. I need Reiki. I need a bonfire where we all sit and share like, that's the prescription that, you know, or a day at the beach, or paddleboarding, or puppy cuddling, you know, and things that raise your vibration. That's what I feel like. Or psychic readings, you know, energy cleansings, because it's different, you know, poetry writing, journaling. So yeah, because I literally just saw galactic psychiatry. Anyhow, I probably will do, since I have time and I have energy right now, I don't know how much energy I will have, I will probably do a reading. I've never heard of a Venusian. There's, I don't know, Andromedan. There's so many different types. I do believe in that though, and I don't think that's extraterrestrial. If anything, people would say that they would say that angels could be extraterrestrials when you think about it, right? Because but the thing is, we accept that as normal, right? Because in Catholic religion and Christian whatever, we say, oh, saints and angels, but people would, that's weird, right? That's almost like, right? That's almost alien like, because that's not human. Angels would be considered non-human creatures, but we say that's acceptable. But if someone demonstrates some otherworldly innate abilities to supernaturally heal themselves, or has telepathic abilities or whatever, that's suddenly a cause for concern. It's stupid. And people, I'm not kidding, I think people like hunt these people down, like, you know, like hunter, like prey, like where people, like, I may be prey and someone's like, I want her blood. You know, I want her blood, I want her DNA. I'm like, bitch, you can pick a hair and there you go, you have my DNA, do what the fuck you want with it, just don't, you know, do weird shit. Anyways, I'm gonna do a reading. I need good energy. I need to bring good energy in, because right now I feel like shit. And I tried to break I did break my fever for a little bit. I did. And it was 101. Thank God it didn't go to 102, but it was 101, and then it went down to 99. I think my body's fighting hard to like fight whatever's inside me. And I told myself, I was like manifestation. I was like, no flu, no virus, no meningitis, no flu. And I would just like I would try to do like lymphatic massage, and I kept, you know, going like this, trying to push, you know, my lymph fluid throughout my body, because that, you know, lymph fluid can get stagnant, you know, and it could pool somewhere. And, you know, that's why they say facial massage and all that. I was trying to listen to music, but I do believe that Western medicine does play a part, but I also know that if it is meningitis, then they would probably, or a virus, then there's really not much people could do. So it's either rack up a huge ER bill, possibly if my insurance won't cover it, or fight it off and feel pain and then just push through as best as I can. I don't know. I still feel like I have shards of glass piercing my abdomen right now, internally, which sucks. I don't know what that's from. But thoughts and prayers are much appreciated. I know one of you people do mention that, and you're like, oh, read the Bible. Respectfully, I am not shunning you. I'm not going to say, oh, I'm not going to read the Bible, but right now it might be more medicine, or I know scientifically it's, you know, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory, like that's probably the route I need, or vitamin C or fluid. So I love spirituality, go Christ, yay, but like I also believe that like modern medicine is key. And this is, you know, it is sad. This is one commentary I wish to make about healthcare. The fact that, for me, as identifying as someone who is in poverty, I don't mind saying it, it's just a period of my life. Hopefully I overcome it. And I was put in these circumstances against my own will. I'm not like a frivolous spender. I didn't go buy a bunch of fancy things. I paid rent on my credit cards, and hopefully I'm not being targeted by banks, because that would be really shitty if like a bank was like, you didn't pay me, so I'm gonna target you and put hits on your life and poison you. That's a little drastic and far out, which I could file a lawsuit if I had the proof of that. But anyways, I hope I'm gonna do it one more time, because I hope that's not the case, because that would be terrifying. Or company. But yeah, it is frustrating that I think about all the people who can't get medical care because they may be in the same boat as me. You know, they're experiencing all these things, but then they have to go between finances or health. That's not fair. Like, if I lived in Canada, or if I was in Europe right now, I'd probably be able to go to any, I don't know how that system works with healthcare, but I'd probably be able to walk into any facility and go, I don't feel good, you know, because I literally, I had to go, how much would it cost? What's the copay? What's covered, what's not? And And that's just not, I shouldn't have to be thinking about that, because when if it's an emergency and I could get a seizure or whatever, even though I'm talking, I look like I'm okay, I don't feel okay, I wear pain really well, I'm very tough, I'm very resilient, except when I have a sore throat. When I have a sore throat, I turn into a baby, and I will wail a little bit. I will be like, ow, 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 because it is painful. But for the most part, I try to push through it, But it is, when you think about all the people that may not have an adequate health care. And that's why I really hope they don't get rid of stuff like Medicaid. And Medicaid, I'm going to say, is not the creme de la creme or the cream of the crop. But I know there's Obamacare as well, like the Affordable Care Act, and thank goodness for things like that, because they give people the chance and opportunity to seek out, and I'm not talking about the people who commit fraud with Medicaid or Medicare, but I'm talking about people who really genuinely need it. Like, I got in this situation against my own, like, I don't care if someone's like, oh, then it's a joke, it's like an experiment. I don't consider torturing someone an experiment, I don't consider bullying someone, cyberbullying someone, or hurting their body an experimental or a contest in any way. I look at that as malicious intent to kill someone, and that should be dealt with accordingly. But people should be able to have access to health care. And I'm not political. But people should have access to health care. Like, I shouldn't have to be deciding between, oh, how much is the bill going to be, versus I should go, oh, I don't feel good, let me go to this one. Like, I literally was contemplating going to a hospital that's 30 minutes to an hour away, just because one hospital may not cover everything, or may not be a good quality, or, because when you're Medicaid, or if you're on state whatever, you're automatically looked at as, like, I guarantee you, if you get someone who has, like, let's say a donor went into the hospital, right? Let's say that a donor's child went into the ER. They would be considered a VIP patient. I know this because I've witnessed this in other hospitals. Like, if a donor came into an ER, they'll mark them very important person. I'm not kidding. Like, and then so you wonder, and you're like, I wonder if I'm below the poverty line, how are people gonna view me? Am I gonna get, I remember when I was in Florida, and I had, I was having really bad chest pain, and I don't remember what insurance, I don't even know, I think I paid out of pocket, and I felt like I had a heart attack. I mean, my chest was really, really hurting. I was staying with a friend and her boyfriend at the time, because I was traveling from Miami back up to Virginia, and because I took a road trip, because I needed just peace of mind and I was homesick. And I'll never forget, I went to that hospital, and they had, like, I understand they have LPNs that are like training nurses or whatever, but the lady butchered my like, she legit, they reconciled for it, like the hospital admin people, like, they said, how was your experience? And I was like, I'm gonna be honest, I don't like to give bad reviews, but the girl caused a hematoma. I took a picture of it. It was black and blue, huge. My arm was like black and blue all over, and had a huge hematoma, and it was yellow. And I told the woman, I was like, I can't move my arm. I was like, I cannot, I literally couldn't bend my arm. And an IV straw, a catheter, is supposed to be pliable. It's supposed to bend with your body, because that's why it's malleable and pliable. So when you put it in the vein, it's supposed to move with the vein, right? So my bicep was contracted permanently, like, in there. And then I said, you have to take that out because that hurts. So another nurse comes in, and she fixes it. She does a new one on this arm. Then Dr. Cockatoo comes in, because his hair looked like I couldn't take him seriously. I was like, I can't, in my mind I was like, I can't take this man seriously, unfortunately. He came in, and I told him, I was like, this and this happened, and I don't feel well. And I knew the kind of things, the enzymes I needed to be tested for that would indicate a heart attack or an MI. And he's like, oh, your troponin levels were fine, your enzyme, and I'm like, he's like, your angiotensin, ACE inhibitor. I'm like, I find that hard to believe, because I was like, I remember I went to Disney, and I went to Guardians of the Galaxy ride after that, and it says, when you go on a roller coaster, it says, if you have any sort of medical condition, please be mindful, because it could exacerbate it. And I remember going on that, and I felt my heart was like working overtime to just pump blood after that. And I was like, did I have a heart attack? I was like, I think, you know. So, I feel like a cat with with 9 or 10 or 11 lives. Like, literally, I'm not kidding. But some hospitals, you know, they treat you fairly. Some people are qualified individuals, some are not. And that's why I look at vitals.com, I look at healthgrades.com, and I do my homework. Because, you know, you can get some people, especially with targeting and gang stalking, they'll hold prejudice against you. And they'll be like, oh, she's on the list, so give her half-assed mediocre care. Some people I have had good care with, and just to preface, like just to mention, they did reconcile it. They gave me a good discount. They called me up after I did the survey, and I talked to patient services, and I was like, listen, that was disappointing because I thought I was going to get really good care in my home state, and I didn't. So that was frustrating. Because God forbid, if you have a heart attack, you'd want people to take you seriously. And I wasn't taken seriously. So I don't know how that would play out here, but, you know, the frustrations of a targeted individual, the life of a targeted person. And it goes without saying, you know, please, 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 I'm going to sit up straight for this. Think before you speak. You don't know how your words affect other people. Don't act impulsively. Think rationally and maturely at a job, anywhere, because yeah, there are snakes in the grass in certain places, and there are people who are literally preying on your downfall. Like one slight mishap, oh, there we go, you know, oh, she did this, that's it, you know. One little thing, one wrong word, one wrong glance, you don't know who people know. You don't know who people know. You don't know who their friends are. You don't know who they're connected to. You piss off the wrong person, that's it. You're doomed. And nothing you can say or do may change that around, unfortunately. And I'm a very optimistic, you know, I put Little Miss Sunshine, that little, you know, the little creature. She's like, I don't know if I can show my phone. This is from like years ago, so I had this, I put that on my thing. But she's like this little, I forgot where that first started, but they used to have Little Miss Sunshine shirts where it said Little Miss this, Little Miss whatever. And I don't even know if they do they have those anymore? Little Miss Sunshine shirts. Little Miss Malibu, Little Miss Pumpkin Spice, Little Miss, this is funny. So they do still have the shirts, kind of. They were so cute. This was like a huge trend. If you don't know what I'm talking about, this was a huge trend. Little Miss Boot Scootin'. That's like if you go line dancing in Texas. Little Miss it says Little Miss fucking Sunshine. That's funny. Wasn't it like Little Miss Grumpy or... Anyways, if you are watching my channel, thank you for going on this journey with me. It's not easy. I don't know when I'm ever going to get reprieve. It feels like a nightmare, honestly, and moving out of state. I've moved 5 or I don't know how many times already. City life, I realize, is not for me at all. And I'm hoping that I can one day attract men that are single, because I intuitively sense that the men I talk to are unavailable, and I don't know why, unless they're polygamist or polyamorous. I don't know why a man would lie unless they're unhappy in their marriage or like unhappy in their relationship, unless the wife agrees to it. I don't know why a wife would agree to their husband sleeping with another, it doesn't resonate with my mind. It doesn't, unless they're swingers. That's the only thing is I could think of. People are swingers, but I don't want that. These are the things that I do align with more conservatively in some respects. So it's like, because that is a more conservative notion, monogamy, and not such a liberal one, but I am liberal in some respects, and I'm kind of conservative in others, but still, it's just like, I'm like, what do I need to do? I'm like, those are cute pajamas, it's a onesie. I'm like, what do I need to do to attract men that are single? Like Pringles. Not people who are, you know, like, kind of single. Not that, oh, I don't know. But, like, people that are, like, truly single. Single as a Pringle. Because I ain't gonna do that. I don't want to do that. I can't do that. Because I don't need a wife unless the wife knows. Like, I don't need a wife or a girlfriend coming after me. Or, God forbid, a boyfriend. Because some people who knows if they're bi or whatnot. I don't need someone to be like, you stole my husband, you bitch. You're a Jolene. And I'm like, no. They said they were single, so you can't come at me for that. And don't put hits on me and try to kill me because your partner's unhappy in a relationship. Clearly something's missing, so you need to fix that as a spouse. This is why I wanted to go into marriage and family counseling, or become a counselor, for this very reason. To create happy couples equal happy families equal well-adjusted, well-behaved children, securely attached children equal competent individuals in society, and that carries on the cycle of positive behavior. Voila. Anyways, I don't know. We'll see what happens. To be determined. I'm grateful I'm alive. I'm hoping that this virus can go away because I need to keep a job. Because last time, literally, I don't want this to be deja vu, but last time this happened, I got hired at a job. But it was a healthcare job, and it was remote. And I was experiencing weird stuff with my food, like food poisoning, weird reactions to beverages, and I felt like my body, I was in pain all over, and I remember telling the job, I'm sorry, I have to resign from the position because I'm dealing with personal matters, and I didn't know if the job was going to be a good fit anyways because I felt kind of behind. I knew that if I applied myself, but safety was the utmost of concern, so I couldn't even focus on that because my safety wasn't, that's of utmost importance, because when you feel like people are trying to torture you without touching you, that's the hard part. And they know that they're doing it too. The people that are doing it, they know that they're doing it. So, anyways, we'll see. I don't know anymore. I thought I knew. You grow up when you're a kid and you watch Disney movies, you play with Barbies, you play with Legos, you go to Disney World, the Bahamas, everything seems peachy keen. You go to Eckerd's when CVS used to be Eckerd's. I've always been a loyal fan of Eckerd's or CVS, you know, TGI Fridays, Applebee's, Chili, you know, that was my childhood. And then you grow up and then you're like, you get to know people and you go to college and you have jobs and you're like, man, people are really shitty. Man, they're mean and ugly and envious or jealous, and you try your best to, you know, make people smile and make them happy, and they hurt you and they lie to you and trick you. So yeah, I just, you know, and they try to make you feel bad for having standards or boundaries, and you're like, but I don't want to be a mistress. My life is, I know what and that's the thing too, when you know your worth, I'm not to say that I'm super confident in myself, but when you know what you deserve and you know your worth, if you settle for someone or something that you may feel like you have some soul tie to, even if that feels really strong, but they may be with someone else, or, you know, that's not your job to try to, and no one, by the way, as a woman, you shouldn't be trying to break up anyone's marriage or partnership. Even if you feel like there's someone that you feel a strong kinship to, that is not your place to do that. It's not your place, because it's not your place. And there's karma for that. If you do that, there is karma. Trust me. You come in and you're like, oh, I'm gonna swipe this man. There's women who don't. There's women. There's bad grammar. There are women. There are women who see a wedding ring on someone and they go, oh, I don't really give a shit. That's even more reason. No, anyone. If I see a wedding ring on someone, that's off limits. I don't care. I don't fuck with that. Matrimony, and that to me is very important. So yeah, but to be continued. I'm grateful to be alive, and I hope I still have a job on Monday, because I just started. I think this is the second week, and I don't want it to be a reprisal of what happened in another job, because I actually do, and I like this job, and I'm kind of in a trial period. I'm not like, and I told myself with employment, I'm like, should I look for other jobs while I'm doing this one, because they could, by the 45 days they can go, oh, thank you so much, but we've decided to, because that could happen. But I want to do my best, and I care about education and kids and schools and stuff, so I'm hoping it works out. But I am realistic, so I'm realistic, but I'm also optimistic. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. That's my motto. Hope for the best, so you're hopeful, but you're prepared if the outcome doesn't go the way you want. That way you're not like super heartbroken. You're like, okay, I was hopeful, but I'm also realistic that things may not turn out the way that I hoped. So that's how I go about dating too. So, because things may not turn out the way. And to any man out there, if you are married, please leave a single woman alone. Please, for the love of God. We don't need to invest in you people, respectfully. I don't care if your wife is okay with you talking to other women on an app. It may not go as anything as far as like an emotional affair, or it may not go as anything as far as just talking, or that's cheating to me. If it's anyone other than your spouse or your partner or boyfriend, for the men that are bisexual out there, please do not contact us, because you are taking our time from the people that are good men, like the Kristoffs of the world. And I don't mean Kristoff of the Truman Show. I mean Kristoff from like Frozen, because Hans wanted to come in, and sell her a pipe dream, but he really just wanted the fortune of the castle and all that stuff. So please, I know to fill your narcissistic hearts that you guys are like, oh, but I want my cake and I want to eat it too. Well, that's not fair, because respectfully, especially with a person like me, I give unto myself repeatedly, wholeheartedly. So if I meet someone, if I'm talking to multiple people, right? If we're talking about dating, if I'm talking to 4 or 5 different men at the same time, and I don't mean this in like a playerish, like, I mean like I'm going to genuinely devote my time to I'm going to have formidable, meaningful conversations with someone, because that's the intent, right? You're looking, like there's that show, Married at First Sight. I used to watch this show religiously all the time. My family and I used to watch it legit all the damn time. And it's a social experiment where they have the people, they base on the questionnaire and the interviews that they do from a sociologist, a sex therapist, a pastor, and a psychologist, and maybe like a dating coach or something. And they do this really extensive, comprehensive questionnaire. And then they do a sociological observation and study of the person's everyday habits and behavior. And then based off of that, they pair someone up with someone. And the people don't know who they're going to partner up with until the day that they meet them at the... I mean, it's insane. It's crazy. I don't know if it works, but... I mean, these people get airtime, but, like, at the same time, it's just, like, I don't know. I could never do that, I think. And I would never, I mean, like, it's like people publicizing their, their marriage to the world. That would be, I don't even know how that's like a lot of pressure too, because they have cameras following them, they have to be mic'd up and all this stuff. So I don't think I could do it, but some people do it. But, ow, my back. But anyways, my chest hurts. My chest hurts so much right now. I'm doing eagle pose because this is a back opener, and my back hurts and my chest hurts. I literally have a stabbing pain in my chest right now. It hurts so much. For those people who are not into yoga, this is called Garudasana. It's eagle pose. It's supposed to be the lower half. You're supposed to cross your right leg over your left. But I don't even know if I'm doing it right. But it's supposed to be like this. But it helps. It's a back opener. We go to that. Or side to side. Anyways. But if you are someone who is married or partnered up and you think it's okay to bamboozle someone and trick someone like that, it's not funny. Like, I was watching New Girl. I watched this clip over and over again of Schmidt's character where he dates Cece, who's Jess's friend, not his roommate, but her, like, model friend, and then he dates Elizabeth, who's an ex of his, and the guy Nick, who lives with them, you know, they're roommates, and he says, what does he say? He says, you can't have two wives. This is the way the world works. I mean, maybe in polygamy world, you people can do that, but in my world, that's not how I roll. That's not how I roll. I don't need to find out that my partner, my boyfriend, has a secret life, and, you know, that's you know, be wary of the guys who travel a lot. Also, by the way, I've learned that. I go, how do you tell if a guy has a spouse? And if you're a mistress, they'll say, usually the guy says, I travel for work. That's just not cool. And trust me, if someone said, hey, I'll take care of you, and, you know, whatever, and you'll have a beautiful life, and you'll have your own home, and you'll have a studio, I can put you in a studio apartment, or 1 bedroom, and you won't have to worry about, like, no, but that's not a relationship. That's just like a funding project. I don't want to do that. I'd rather be someone's, like, full-time partner and teammate than, like, part-time whatever, you know. So don't compromise on your morals. Don't compromise on your beliefs and your values, because someone's going to honor and respect that. And if people make fun of you and they call you, oh, she's such a goody two-shoes, oh, she's whatever, and she loves pink, and who gives a shit? Are these people going to matter in 10 years? No, probably not. So the ones who mind don't matter, and the ones who matter don't mind. And that being said, I probably should do a reading. But I appreciate thoughts and prayers. I hope I gave some of you people some food for thought. For the men out there, I'm being super serious. Maybe pick a role model. There's a ton of celebrities maybe out there, even influencers, who you go, hey, I think that person's a good role model to go off of. I like the way they carry themselves, or, you know, emulate professionalism and grace and tact, and also what you do in your personal life and behind closed doors. Because, you know, people go, oh, you can't be classy, whatever, out in the streets and in public and be a freak. And you do you. As long as you're not hurting people, as long as you're being safe, I think that's what matters. But I do think that, for me personally, relationships are between two people. A real marriage is when two people can love each other. And if that's not your cup of tea, then, you know, I don't know. That's the beauty of the world. We all have differences of opinions, and when people think that their opinion is better than others, that's when you run into problems and wars, and, you know, this land is my land, this land is, what was it? This land is your land, this land is my land, from the California to the New York Islands to, I don't know, this land was made for you. Well, anyways, that's how I see it, and, yeah. Just treat others as you wish to be treated. And I'm sure as a guy, if you are a guy watching this, would you want to be would you, if you're a guy and you happen to be watching my video and you're single, would you want the girl that you're talking to already be partnered up with someone? And I don't care if you say, yeah, but she's miserable. Yeah, but she's not happy. She doesn't like her spouse. That's her thing to deal with. That's not your thing. It's not your thing. It's not your thing. When you're single, that means no ring on your finger, no civil union, no whatever. That means single, zilch, nada, niche. Is it neat? Neat? Nein? I don't know. The German, the nunca, nadie. So, and this is how honesty, integrity starts. And that's how you build reliability with people. And women, we are smart motherfuckers. We can pick you out. Like, we have that intuition. We have that. It's embedded within us. We have that nurturing, like, we have that in us. So if you have your choice of being a lying, cheating, sleazy philanderer, and if you don't care about how your actions affect another person, then you need to go to therapy and you need to reflect back on your actions, because you could hurt somebody. Because that woman that you're lying to, that you think, oh, I'm going to keep her, I'm going to string her along and I'm going to break her heart, or whatever, because some people do that. They do that as a revenge. Listen, if she's tough as an ox, if she has a head on her shoulders, she's going to go, thank you so much for your time. I enjoyed speaking with you, but I'm going to leave it at that. Because I know that there's 7 billion people in the world and one of them is bound to stick, and that ain't going to be you. Because if you don't value my time, if you don't value my energy, then I am not going to value yours, or you're not worth mine. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, and I've gotten a lot better. And if someone is a sociopath and someone acts upon that and gets angry for you setting your boundaries and they come after you, like, I've had it recently where I told someone, hey, listen, I was going to move forward with this idea of moving to a certain state, and I spoke to 2 people, or I spoke to my family and someone else that I wanted to get a counsel or advisement on, and they said, do you know this person well? And I go, no, but he said that he would do this, this, and this, or whatever. And I never, ever, I mean, the way that this individual portrayed himself, he seemed humble, vulnerable, kind, somewhat knowledgeable, informative, intelligent, and I said something that was off-putting to him or negated what his intentions or his plans were, and the response that I got from this person was so not what I expected for him to say. Like, it wasn't gentlemanly, it wasn't kind. And I go, imagine if I had actually followed through with that decision to, I'm not going to say what it was, but if I had followed through with that decision, I go, imagine if that's the way I was treated through an email, imagine in person. So you don't know anybody, and you have to be very, very, very careful. And there should be nothing wrong with standing your ground and stating your boundaries, because people will walk all over you, especially if you're kind and nice, and they will use, like, let's say someone knows computer skills. Let's just say, God forbid, maybe he was a hacker. I don't know, but let's say he knew computers really well. He could have sought revenge and gone and hacked my phone, for all I know, Not that I'm not saying that's what he did, but like, people like that who have a short fuse or lack poor emotional regulation or self-regulation skills will act impulsively or brashly, and they will seek revenge on people. And then they go undetected, because some people are really good hackers and you can't even find them. They're like deeply embedded in the, And I'm not, I told myself, I was like, maybe I should learn to figure out how to do computers, because I don't know how to I know Microsoft PowerPoint, I know Microsoft Word, Publisher, I don't know that much of Excel. I know how to make the little boxes into different colors and stuff. I know like one formula, that's it. But people can be really bad and sinister, and they will lie to you and say everything they can to try to get you to surrender or acquiesce to what they want, and they'll feed you a bunch of stuff, everything you want to hear. And you, as women, or men too, because it happens, because there are women who are just as sly and cunning and conniving as men are. I'm not going to just relegate it to, oh, all men are horrible. No, there are women, who are just as bad, if not worse. Because women in that Machiavellian mindset, very dark psychology, oh, I'm going to get into your head, I'm going to act all nice, whatever, but then there's women like that. And men, you have to be careful of that too. So, yeah. Human behavior, psychology, exciting times. I'm hoping that I find some sort of reprieve. I really don't want to go on a scavenger hunt for whatever it is, whatever mystery. You know, I feel like there's other psychics, mediums, and stuff who are also putting together the pieces of what happened. I don't say to me, but other people. Collectively, we may be all going through something similar. I just do sense that there's a lot of trickery and dishonesty and corruption and deception, unfortunately. And I don't have the tools to combat, you know, psychotronic energy weapons, or if that's what's being used, I don't know, or poisons. I don't have an antidote to that. I don't have, you know, unfortunately, people are really mean. And I would like to think that hopefully I'm not a political figure. I'm not a public figure. I'm not so apolitical. I just don't really pay attention to it that much at all. Like, I don't seek out the news. I don't watch really. My family used to watch MSNBC all the time, like every Friday night. When I used to go to my Nana's house, like Rachel Maddow all the time. That other guy, Lawrence something? I don't remember. He has a very deep voice. But I don't really watch any of that, because I just feel like some things are very biased, and you know, and you need to have to me, I think it's good to have a worldview that's bipartisan, because you get to see both sides of the equation, right? And when you don't, and there's another thing too I want to say, sometimes people will go as far as targeting someone politically, because when the spotlight gets on their life or something, and God forbid you don't align with, like, I don't know, let's say I don't watch enough basketball, or I don't watch enough women's basketball. Like, I was doing a survey recently, and I was like, they're like, how much are you a fan of women's basketball? I'm like, I don't really watch, I just never paid attention to it. So I was like, no, I don't watch it. And I'm like, if there's someone that's a hacker that happens to watch women's basketball, they can get on me for that. Or like, let's say there's someone who is a vegan and I've eaten bacon before, they can say, oh, I'm going to target her because she hurts animals and she's an animal. People do that because they're crazy. So be mindful, folks, is what I was saying before, and that's why I started this out with, I don't know if I need a lawyer or not. I don't even know where to start with that, honestly. And I shouldn't have to. If people already have information about what's happened to me and they know, they should come to me, not the other way around, because I'm not going to go on a scavenger hunt looking for it, especially if people already know about it. So if you happen to know,